With the Israeli Justice Ministry, reports out of the Israeli border police deployed in occupied East Jerusalem reveal that police in that department repeatedly and deliberately took actions designed to provoke a violent response from Palestinians to justify a further crackdown on them. The attorney who filed the initial report noted he finally got 10 reports out of the area and that they all noted police initiated friction activity, with police in the reports openly describing actions they took specifically to create friction with residents of the Arab village in the area. Israeli civil rights groups blasted the revelation, with one lawyer for such a group saying the actions totally contradict the role of the police and showed a serious disregard for human life in the occupied territories. The complaint was initially filed based on a January 6th incident in which border police entered a village and shot a 12-year-old boy in the head with a sponge bullet, putting him in a coma. Police defended this action, and others insisting their actions preserve the security and welfare of the public. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. UPI reports Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders officially endorsed Hillary Clinton, his Democratic rival, for the presidential nomination, ending what began as a long-shot campaign that exploded into a liberal political revolution. The announcement came Tuesday in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a state Sanders won handily in the primary and which will be a battleground in Clinton's general election efforts against Republican Donald Trump. Sanders had, in effect, lost the nomination contest many weeks ago when, before the California primary, multiple media outlets reported Clinton had gained the number of delegates needed to clinch the nomination, thanks to superdelegates coming to her side. Still, the liberal firebrand Sanders did not relent, pledging to campaign until all the votes were cast, and even after that. After a closed-door White House meeting with President Barack Obama, a defiant Sanders said he was still not dropping out of the race, and standing in front of the White House portico told reporters he would continue campaigning until the Democratic convention in Cleveland. That changed on Tuesday when Sanders formally endorsed Clinton and encouraged his impassioned supporters to vote for her in November. The political effects of Sanders' endorsement is not yet clear. Polls have shown up to 1 in 4 Sanders supporters said they would not vote for Hillary in the general election. Sanders seemingly spoke directly to those individuals during his endorsement speech, repeatedly using words like listening, believes, and understands when describing Hillary's positions on his agenda. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports for the first time a federal judge has suppressed evidence obtained without a warrant by U.S. law enforcement using a stingray. U.S. District Judge William Pauley in Manhattan on Tuesday ruled that defendant Raymond Lambus's rights were violated when the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration used a device without a warrant to find his Bronx apartment. The DEA had used a stingray to identify the apartment of Lambus as the most likely location of a cell phone identified during a drug trafficking probe. Pauley said doing so constituted an unreasonable search. Pauley wrote, absent a search warrant, the government may not turn a citizen's cell phone into a tracking device. The ruling marked the first time a federal judge had suppressed evidence obtained using a stingray, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, which, like many privacy advocacy groups, had criticized law enforcement use of such devices. Stingrays, also known as cell site simulators, mimic cell phone towers in order to force cell phones in the area to transmit pings back to the devices, enabling law enforcement to track a suspect's phone and pinpoint its location. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
California is reeling from Super Rainbow Percival, which left a trail of devastation along the West Coast. A luminous band of destruction touched down in Santa Barbara. Percival set a record as the most powerful rainbow in U.S. history, with at least 30 confirmed fatalities and damage estimates in the billions. The vividly saturated colors seared through homes and roads, charring everything in its path. Those exposed to the rainbow's fury say they're lucky to be alive.
The sky was completely blue. all of a sudden it's filled with brilliant hues of red and indigo.
All I can say is when I was a kid, rainbows didn't cut people in half.
Meteorologists say that Percival is just the latest in a pattern of increasingly dangerous rainbows, and that they're only growing stronger as global temperatures rise. Percival also comes on the heels of some extreme weather phenomena overseas. Authorities in the Philippines are still searching for thousands in the aftermath of mega sunset Wilma.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Join us. Toll-free number. We'll give that to you. Skype username as well. We have that. So prepare yourself. You can call in, of course, and bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. Joining you in studio tonight, it's...
And Daryl.
Of course, we bring stuff to the table to discuss here tonight. On the way, police have been arresting people for criticizing the cops on Facebook and Twitter. So look out. Freedom of speech? Nope, you don't have that if you say bad things about the government, apparently, in the United States. In other news, there's a pretty big court case that's a shot against the police. And, Daryl, you've got that story.
Yes, story comes from Reuters, and they say for the first time, that's the first time ever, not like, the first time this week, first time ever, a federal judge has suppressed evidence obtained without a warrant by U.S. law enforcement using a Stingray device, which is a surveillance device that can trick a cell phone into revealing its location. U.S. District Judge William Pauley in Manhattan on Tuesday ruled that defendant Raymond Lambrus's rights were violated when the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration used such a device without a warrant to find his Washington Heights apartment.
Now, I'm not incredibly technically aware of exactly how the Stingray works, but from previous discussions on this show, it's my understanding that essentially the Stingray masquerades as though it's a cell phone tower and is able to determine all manner of information about the users of cell phones in that particular area that could be transmitting to the Stingray.
Right. So further down in this article, they explain...
Talks more about it.
Stingrays, also known as cell site simulators, mimic a cell phone tower in order to force all cell phones in the area to transmit pings back to the device, enabling law enforcement to track a suspect's phone and pinpoint its location. Critics of the technology call it invasive and say it has been used regularly in secret to catch suspects in violation of their rights under the U.S. Constitution. But let's jump back up into the article, or the beginning of the article. The DEA had used a Stingray to identify the apartment of Lambrus as the most likely location of a cell phone identified during a drug trafficking probe. Judge Pauley said doing so constituted an unreasonable search. Quote, absent a search warrant, the government may not turn a citizen's phone into a tracking device.
Uh-oh.
The ruling marks the first time that a federal judge has suppressed evidence obtained using a Stingray, according to the ACLU, which, like other privacy advocacy groups, has criticized law enforcement's use of such devices.
So once again, like the FBI case where they ran a child pornography website and put malware on a bunch of people's computers without a warrant that was legal. In this case, they did have a warrant, but there's arguments that it wasn't a legal one, so it's gotten some of the evidence in those cases thrown out. But in this case, they didn't even bother to get a warrant. They just went ahead and put up this device, intercepted signals, and then went ahead and used that against this man.
Yes.
Now, let me argue for the police here, Daryl, and maybe a little bit of devil's advocacy. Well, look, these cell phone signals are just out there in the world. I mean, why shouldn't the police be able to receive them just like anyone else can? I mean, you could run one of these devices, couldn't you?
I don't know if I could run one of these devices, but if I did, then I could not use whatever information I obtained to wind up prosecuting somebody without a warrant.
Good point.
You need a warrant to prosecute somebody. You need to gather evidence in order to wind up building a case. Yet, like seeing somebody walk down the street, they're, in public, But I would dare say that the police would need probable cause to continue walking behind you all the way to the post office.
Well, there's good reason that these rules exist. It's not to protect criminals. It's to protect innocent people from the continually overreaching and intrusive hand of government.
Yes.
So good for the judge in this case.
It's unclear whether the prosecutors will seek an appeal. A spokeswoman, and I'm about to give a name that you've probably heard before, Ian.
Yep.
Spokeswoman for Manhattan U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara, whose office was prosecuting the case, declined to comment.
That's the same guy who prosecuted Ross Ulbricht.
Yes, it is.
Creator of the Silk Road, the most infamous underground drug marketplace known to man.
Yes. Now, speaking of the stingrays, they get into that part of the article. The ACLU has tabulated 66 agencies in 24 states and the District of Criminals that own stingrays, but said that that figure underrepresents the actual number of devices in use, given what it called secrecy surrounding their purchase. A Maryland appeals court in March became what the ACLU said was the first state appellate court to order evidence obtained by a stingray pressed. Pauley's decision was the first at the federal level. The U.S. Department of Justice in September changed its internal policies and required government agents to obtain a warrant before using a cell site simulator.
Okay, well, too little too late in that case.
Yes.
Because this case was before September, presumably, if it's being litigated now.
Possibly, but we'll see what happens.
It says here that it occurred a week after his client was charged. So, yeah. They blew it. They blew this case.
Again, we at this point don't know if Preet Bharara is going to wind up appealing this
He's got
decision.
nothing to lose. He might as well appeal.
True. Bernard Seidler, a lawyer for Lambus, noted that this occurred a week after, that being the change of DOJ policy occurred a week after his client was charged, said if it was unclear if the drug case against Lambus would now be dismissed.
Toll-free number if you want to join us here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So all they would have had to do was ask a judge for permission, and they likely would have given that permission. I mean, we don't really know exactly what evidence they had or what probable cause they had, because all they say here about the search was that it was a cell phone identified during a drug trafficking probe. And what does that even mean? We were doing a drug trafficking probe. Does that mean they busted somebody who was a drug user, searched their cell phone, and found this cell phone of this other guy as the possible dealer, and then they...
the term trafficking, it sounds so horrible, but in reality, it could be, hey, take this baggie of weed to this guy on the other side of town.
And that would be drug trafficking.
Because you are,
definition.
trafficking the stuff. You're moving it from one place to another.
Let's go to the phones to the fun. We got Mike. He's in Oregon. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. Mike, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Daryl.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Mike.
So, Ian, you had a caller call in last week. I think his name was Ricky. He was talking about that he received a selective service registration letter at the age of 12. And
he did say that, and it seemed unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I, too, received one at a very early age. In fact, I just found my selective service card before I called into the show, and I believe that I did receive one at the age of 12 also. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm looking at the card right now, and it says in orange, last action date for something. I can't read it, and then 97, which would have been a little bit after my 18th birthday, but I remember this to be a lot earlier than that, and I think it was around the age of 12 or 13. When it says last action date, that I don't really know what that means.
Now, he told us that he believed that he was sent this card at age 12 because he was gifted or, particularly intelligent, scoring 100, and he claims 180 or 185 on IQ.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I've never had my IQ tested. I am probably well below that. I just find it weird that, this says last action date. I have no idea what that is, and it says 1997, which would make sense if that was the issue date, but it doesn't say issue date.
Well, do you have any speculation as far as why they would have sent this to you at age 12?
I have no clue. I have absolutely no idea. I'm just a regular guy. I asked my dad.
Right. Maybe he was telling the truth. Mike, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Maybe the internet knows more about this. We never checked that before when Ricky called.
I don't
It's Free
believe
Talk
it.
Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Focus. You need it to run a business, so don't let legal questions distract you. Use LegalZoom instead. Things like lease agreements and employment laws get complicated, but they're part of running a business. That's why LegalZoom built a network of independent attorneys in 48 states. You can rely on them for the legal details without paying by the hour, since LegalZoom isn't a law firm. So focus on growing your business and use LegalZoom for the legal stuff. LegalZoom. Legal help is here.
For life's aches and pains, choose Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray. It works fast, and it's easy to use. Designed to work odor-free in all those remote areas. It works here. It's odor-free here. It works here. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray. Fast-acting, easy-to-use, odor-free pain relief. Remote areas. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and other fine retailers.
Foodforliberty.com sells high-quality, storable foods from Numana. And right now, take advantage of our summer special. Purchase 2 family packs and we'll send you a Pro Pure Water Pitcher, a $70 value, free. This premium pitcher is ideal for use with just about any water source and removes more contaminants than other brands. And it comes with a filter that lasts up to 2 full years. Whether you need to be prepared in the event of an emergency, you're an outdoor sports enthusiast, Numana is known for high-quality, great-tasting, GMO-free, super nutritious food with no chemical preservatives. And with a 25-year shelf life, you can't beat the feeling of being food secure when you need it most. Go to foodforliberty.com right now for great-tasting, high-quality, storable foods from Numana. Buy 2 family packs and get the Pro Pure Water Pitcher free. It makes good sense to be prepared. Get it at foodforliberty.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You are invited to join us on the radio waves here. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We've been talking about the judge tossing out the evidence gathered by the Stingray device, that nasty little device that masquerades as though it's a cell phone tower and tricks cell phones within its broadcast area to believing that it's a cell phone tower. So they will give it all kinds of data as well as location, for instance, of the phone's users. That was used against a man in a drug case, and a judge, a federal, I believe, district court judge, has just thrown out that evidence.
Yes, District Judge William H. Pauley from the United States District Court, Southern District of New York.
By the way, the Jaxx wallet is available to you right now. It allows you to access your Bitcoin, Ether, and DAO tokens. It is a multi-cryptocurrency wallet. All the data of the wallet is stored client-side, so the manufacturer of Jaxx has no idea what you've got in your wallet. They don't have access to your funds. It's cross-platform, meaning that you can download Jaxx for your Android phone or iPhone device, or if you've got a Windows, Linux, or Mac computer, you can get Jaxx there. Plus, it also exists as a plug-in for Firefox and Chrome. So if you want to grab Jaxx, it's free. Go to jaxx.io, jaxx.io. It's super easy to back up and recover your funds if need be. And Jaxx's ultimate aim is to build you a digital command center for your life, giving you control over coins, currencies, contracts, identity, and more. In the palm of your hand, Jaxx, jaxx.io. As we continue with your calls and thoughts, Tim is in Wyoming. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Ian. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Yes,
hey, Daryl. How's it going? Yeah, that's good. Good to hear the subject of the Stingrays is being brought up, because, as the ACLU knows, there are many, many more devices like that are out there. It's not Stingray is just one company. I mean, that's just one brand, basically. There are others that are exactly the same device, and no one knows how many there are, because the government is the only one that has the sales records of those. So they can, I mean, in New York City, they actually have them in vans, and they drive around the town. They drive around the city. So there's
the police do, the New York Police Department.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they drive around in city-owned vans and have those exact same devices in their vans. So there's no reasonable expectation of privacy in the public eye. I mean, when you step outside your door, you have no reasonable expectation of privacy. So cameras, recording devices of all kinds, it doesn't matter. Whatever inside your head, you're private. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to, and you don't have to partake in any particular activity if you don't want to. But they can, they can pretend as though you've done those things, and they just have to prove it. Obviously, the burden of proof is on them. But
that's the claim, anyway.
Right. I mean, they say that you're guilty. I mean, they say you're guilty until proven innocent, but obviously we hope that it's the other way around. But so, like I said, there are people that I know that actually have hacked their phones. I mean, they've literally taken their phones apart, taken the GPS out, taken out the controls. I mean, as I said before about the routing of the phone, you can overwrite the programming or erase the programming that's built into the phone, so to speak, and then you can do whatever you want with it. If it's an Android device, I mean, if it's a touch screen device, I'm not exactly sure if you can really bypass everything, because I think that there's some things that when I've tried to do things with my phone, I've tried to update it and whatnot.
Well, even a rooted phone is still going to get caught by a Stingray, because the Stingray is masquerading as a cell phone tower.
Right. But what I'm saying is there are things you can turn off your GPS. I mean, make your GPS not work unless you want it to work. That kind of thing. Turn off.
Sure, but turning off GPS again is not going to prevent the government from knowing where you are. GPS doesn't transmit to a satellite or anything like that. GPS just gives your phone data about its own location. Now, certainly somebody with the proper law enforcement access would be able to get access to that data, but even without GPS, there's still enough cell phone towers around to triangulate your position.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying is that your phone will transmit its GPS position.
It sure will, yeah, for sure. But it won't matter anyway, because you can be triangulated by the cell phone towers.
Of course. I mean, there's the thing,
Right, and that's how the Stingray devices work, is they work off of some sort of triangulation thing.
So, I mean, if you want someone to not know where you are, you shouldn't have a cell phone, or at the very least, you should have the battery taken out of your cell phone, because that's the only way that cell phone is not going to transmit information either to the cell phone company.
Oh, I've heard some conspiracy theorists say that even if the battery is out of the phone, there's this other battery.
That's super paranoid right there.
Yes.
Well, there are capacitors inside of phones that are charged up to keep the memory. Keep the memory going on the phone, and those are the things that will actually. I mean, all it takes.
That's not going to transmit. Even if that's true, that's not transmitting and receiving to a cell phone tower. It's pretty paranoid to believe that if you pull a battery out of a phone, that it's still going to be sending its location to anyone. I mean, if there's some sort of secret battery in the phone, then that can be opened up and proven by simply looking at the guts in the phone.
That's what I was just saying. I mean, there are capacitors that are charged when the phone is being charged. The battery's charging, but it's also charging other things inside of the phone. As I said, to keep the memory inside of the phone, to keep your settings going, all these other things. And all the things, I mean, everything is tied together inside of the phone. If you try to shut one system down on the phone, I know that, as I said about the GPS, you can shut the GPS off, you can shut off the microphone camera, et cetera, et cetera. But mechanically turning them off is the only way to really be sure that they're not working. As you say, removing the battery, but if you've already charged another battery that's inside of the phone, all it takes is a microscopically sized dot to be an RFID transmitter and receiver for your phone.
Well, you understand that RFID has a very limited range, though, right?
Right. But at the same time, I mean, if you send a focused beam of energy, you can turn something on that doesn't normally run on its own.
Sure, but now you're talking about something completely different than the Stingray device, which is a radio transmitting device that is not a focused beam of energy in any way, shape, or form. Thank you, Tim, for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. A little bit paranoid, though, on what the phone is capable of doing once the battery is disconnected. What he was talking about is an RFID chip, similar to what they might put in products at the store, at Walmart or something like that.
As the theft deterrent, theft management, whatever. So when you walk through the little things that goes boop, 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 if it wasn't properly deactivated.
Right. And RFID reading devices can read RFID information from different lengths away. It depends on the power of the reading device, for instance, but essentially it does have to, bounce off of this RFID chip, and you have to sort of know where the person is to, like he said, direct the beam at that person. So now we're not talking about the same thing here. We're talking about something completely different from the Stingray, which is a radio transmitting and receiving device that is able to assist in locating phones around it.
Right. So let me I've got some background on how the DEA actually found this particular phone.
Okay, great. I want to hear more
this
about
particular individual,
which was subsequently thrown out.
Evidence was thrown out because they didn't have a warrant.
Right. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can join us here. Also, Skype username is LRN.FM, and you can bring up anything you want. Take control of the airwaves on Free Talk Live.
Attention backpackers on a budget. Why spend $80 to $300 to pump clean survival water? Introducing the Viba Water Pump Kit from Viba Outdoor Products. Super easy to use and super lightweight at only 6.5 ounces, the Viba Water Pump Kit provides high flow rate at 1 ounce per stroke, can be one-hand pumped, and is dependable and affordable at only $24.99. Filter not included. Get your Viba Water Pump Kit at VIBA-ODP.com from Viba Outdoor Products.
DarkCityDefense.com was born in Black Mountain, at the foot of the Black Mountain Range in North Carolina. From the Dark City, as it's affectionately been named, we built an online firearms pro store that boasts a vast range of firearms, optics, and outdoor supplies. With aggressively low everyday pricing and a free gift pack with every firearms purchase, DarkCityDefense.com is committed to Tier 1 customer service and overcoming darkness by turning on the light of liberty. Find the light in our logo and find out more at DarkCityDefense.com.
I'm Ian Freeman, host of Free Talk Live. We've been covering Uber for years on the radio with their ongoing legal cases across the globe defending your right to give people rides without asking government permission. I wanted to support Uber more directly, so I signed up to be a driver. It's fun to meet new people and help Uber push forward innovation. As of this recording, Uber is active in 67 countries, so there's a good chance they're available in your area. If you'd like to drive for Uber and make some money helping people get where they want to go, sign up at drive.freetalklive.com, and you'll get a $100 bonus after you complete a certain number of trips. With Uber, you can drive anytime you want. You set your schedule. To get started, you need a good driving record, 4-door vehicle, insurance, registration, and to pass a background check. It costs nothing to sign up, so visit drive.freetalklive.com. That's drive.freetalklive.com. And if you just want to try Uber as a rider, visit ride.freetalklive.com. Your first ride's free.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Free Talk Live has partnered with Amazon, the largest internet retailer. Imagine a department store category, and Amazon has it. Books, electronics, office products, furniture, jewelry, automotive, toys, clothing, sporting goods, and dozens of other categories. Now you can shop and support Free Talk Live by entering Amazon through our website. Go to shop.freetalklive.com, and Amazon will send us a portion of your purchase. You're going to do the shopping anyway, so remember to enter through our site at shop.freetalklive.com. That's shop.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. U.S. judge throws out the Stingray evidence. You've heard about the Stingray, perhaps, if you've been listening to this show in the past or been paying attention to the police state. It's one of their little toys they have that can pretend as though it's a cell phone tower and thereby gobble up all kinds of data and information, location details from phones all around it. Well, cops used that in one drug case, and Daryl, you're going to tell us a little bit more about exactly what the DEA did there. It ended up getting tossed. Their evidence got tossed by a judge, a federal judge, very, very recently. So we'll continue with that in a moment. But first, Mark is on his way to Freedom Fest. That's why he's not sitting here with us tonight. He's actually heading out to Vegas and will be joining a bunch of other liberty-minded folks, including Judge Andrew Napolitano, Gary Johnson, Rand Paul, John Mackey, and more. It's happening July 13th, that's today, through the 16th at Planet Hollywood in Vegas. Now, Freedom Fest isn't cheap, but it is a big event, and lots of big names will be attending it. So you can use code FTL at freedomfest.com. I'm presuming you still can because I've been told to tell you this today, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's too darn late to do that at freedomfest.com, given the event started today.
Will Coley will also be there.
Excellent. Another liberty-minded person at Freedom Fest. So go and check it out, freedomfest.com. If you're not in Vegas yet, you probably should get there tomorrow if you want to get the best of the event. Yes. So there you go, freedomfest.com, code FTL, if the codes still work, if the tickets still work online, which I suspect they won't. Anyway, let's go back to the phones, to the fun. Riley is on the line in Utah. You're on Free Talk Live via Skype.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Riley.
I wanted to talk about something that's been going on here lately in my part of the world in southern Utah. We've been having a huge wildfire that has been affected by drones because people would fly their drones around the wildfire and take a look at it or whatever, and it's been hampering the efforts. And the firefighters have been saying, don't fly your drones around. And then recently the governor held an emergency legislative session and said, hey, we're going to up the ante and make it more of a felony to fly these drones around fires, which to me is kind of silly because, you know, people are going to fly their drones no matter what you do. You can up the ante as much as you want. I mean, people are just going to break the law. They don't care.
Hold on. So I've got a few questions here. How is flying a drone causing a wildfire?
It's not causing the wildfire.
I claim it's interference with the fire department. I don't understand how it's... Well, that's what I'd like to know is how is it an interference in any way with someone who's fighting a fire to have some sort of thing hovering in the air a little ways away?
Well, I might know the answer to this, especially if it's one of these really big fires, and they generally will use like the helicopter things to drop buckets of water.
Yeah.
So if you're flying your drone near the helicopter, then that's definitely an interference. Or they might be saying, we can't fly our helicopter because there's a drone within a 5-mile radius. Because like some federal regulation says that you're not allowed to fly one of these drones within 5 miles of an airport or a helipad.
Yeah, they're using helicopters to fight the fire. So what they're saying is these drones are hampering the efforts of helicopters get in and dump water on the fire.
Okay, I guess I can see that might be the case. But in a case without a helicopter, then what's the big deal? I mean, do they use helicopters to fight every single fire in Utah?
Not every single fire, just these big wildfires.
The ones where the forest catch fire.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of forests out here necessarily. We just have a lot of wild grasses that come up during the spring rains and then get dry during the summer. And then when they dry out and a lightning storm comes in, they tend to catch on fire rather quickly and burn a lot. So
Right. So, you know, you're still talking about these thousands of acres of stuff being on fire. It's not like, somebody has a fire in their backyard and it caught a tree on fire. They're not sending a helicopter for a tree.
I wish we had somebody on the line who was a fire person who's familiar with these helicopters. How high does a helicopter hover as it is dropping the water? Is it just right above the tree line, or is it pretty high up, in comparison?
A couple hundred feet, I believe. Okay. So, it's not super high above the tree line.
So it's within drone height is where it's
I'd
hovering.
imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, and I suspect that if a helicopter's blades contact a drone, that's probably not a good thing if that happens. Would that, send the helicopter down? It seemed like it will definitely send the drone down.
Depending on how big the drone is, what it's made out of, it could chip or dent the blade, which could affect the flight ability.
Okay. Fair enough. What do you think, Daryl? Should drones be prohibited around fire?
Well, there's already all these weird federal regulations, so he's just talking about they're going to add, like this extra penalty.
Exactly.
So it's going to be extra illegal.
The governor's doing. So it's just bugging me that people are allowing this to happen here in Utah. I mean, Utah is supposedly a conservative state where government isn't supposed to be so big, but now government is getting so big.
Well, conservatives love their firemen and their police. I mean, they'll do anything for them.
Absolutely.
No amount of government subsidy is too much for those agencies.
Well, they've got to protect their heroes,
I remember seeing a video once of a fire crew fighting a fire and the drone kind of dropping down and getting footage. They were shooting water into a home. And one of the dudes turns around and actually blasts the drone out of the air, which is pretty funny. So I would say that is the risk that one would be taking when recording people with the drone who are fighting a fire. Is they might just shoot you out of the sky. But I just, I hesitate to say that any law should be passed against this. I mean, has it actually occurred that some sort of fire crew has gone down due to a drone getting in the way in some way? I've never heard the story. That doesn't mean it hasn't happened. This seems like it's kind of preemptive to me. And as you pointed out, Riley, it's not like people pay attention to what the government does. So everybody out there with a drone isn't going to get a notice from the Utah state government saying that now it's more illegal and you're facing a felony charge for recording video near a fire. They're not going to know. So the people that want to continue recording video of fires will continue recording video of fires. And the only way they'll get caught, presumably, is if the drone is knocked out of the sky and somehow traced back to the owner, I would think. How else do you catch a drone operator?
That I don't know.
You find somebody with a giant remote control and something that looks like a Google Cardboard or something?
Well, no. I mean, some of them just have a phone app. You just look at so then you're looking for someone looking at their phone. That's almost everybody.
I know, especially with the Pokemon Go going on.
Exactly. Hey, Riley, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate hearing from you. Toll-free number's 855-450-FREE. Maybe there's a fireman out there who wants to kind of explain this, why this is so important. If the drone is in the way of the helicopter about to drop some water, just drop the water on the drone. Hey, that's the risk you take if you're flying a drone around a fire, it would seem to me.
Yeah, and I know with some of the weird FAA regulations, they say that the drone can't be more than, I think, 100 feet off the ground. It's got to always be in line of sight. You've got to register with the government, and then they give you the registration tail number that you've got to put on the side of your device.
That's how they'll catch you if you register with the government. If you're
registered and they find it, and they're like, oh, drone number 2475321B7.
Yeah, I know there's
Riley.
There's a certain, I think, size of drone that does not have to register, and I forget what the size is.
If
it's fairly small, though.
Under like 7.5 ounces.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like weight or width or what.
A combination. But I know that part of it was under a certain number of ounces, and then there's a maximum number of pounds. So like between, I think it's 0.55 pounds to 55 pounds.
You have to register those.
Or what they call the recreational drones. So you've got to register.
That sounds right to me because I was remembering 0.54. So I think there's, I think somebody that we know has gotten one of the 0.54 ones. That way they don't have to register.
He handmade.
Oh, I didn't realize it wasn't made by a company. I would expect that would be an area that companies would move into, is creating drones smaller than 0.55, so people don't have to register them. The toll-free number,
3D printers,
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Stingrays, drones, whatever you want to talk about here tonight. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a warning to all household pests, to all cockroaches, spiders, ants, rodents, and other pests. If you've just made yourself at home in someone else's home, you'd better hope the owners never hear about Terminix, because Terminix has the know-how and the means to do whatever it takes to remove you from that home. Terminix has over 85 years of experience exterminating invaders like you. And right now, they're making it easier than ever for homes to be protected by offering a free pest estimate to every caller at 1-800-689-2939. Cockroaches, spiders, ants, rodents, and other pests. This is your eviction notice. With one call, Terminix will remove you from the home you've invaded. If you think you can simply come back later, think again. Terminix will protect that home with a 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee, so you can never return. Warning, homeowners are calling Terminix right now for a free pest estimate at 1-800-689-2939. 1-800-689-2939.
Limitations apply. See plan for details.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are, 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading, Wednesday gold is $12 higher at $1,345 per ounce. Silver is 19 cents higher at $20.41 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $659 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping clients buy and sell precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you're invited here. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Join the discussion about whatever you want to talk about. Stingray evidence being out from federal courts. We can talk a little more about that. Also, on the way here tonight, police are arresting people for criticizing the police on Facebook and Twitter. The Intercept has that story. It's Ian and Daryl here. Also, Bud joining us in the studio. Hey, Bud. Thanks for coming in here tonight. Let's go right to the phone calls and thoughts. We got Tom. He's on the line calling from the state of Jefferson. Hello, Tom.
Well, hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
I happen to be a volunteer firefighter out here in California.
All right.
And the issue with the drones is going to be I've been on quite a few wildland fires. We have a spotter plane that circles the fire constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put a drone up there, they will see it. And at that point, when they see it, they will call off the helicopters. And the helicopters are coming in right about treetop height.
Oh, wow.
When they're dumping their loads. Yes, I've gotten to fly in them. It's quite fun.
So are you encountering drones when you're out and about? Have you seen this happen?
We haven't had it happen here, no. But it's the spotter plane that would see the drone and call off because of the hazard.
So it's a drone to find drones.
Well, no, the spotter plane is not a drone, is it?
No, it's a plane with a pilot and a co-pilot, and they manage all the air traffic on the site.
Now, why would just one drone flying around a fire be reason for the helicopter to not even come there? Aware that, hey, there's a drone.
Are we talking about the little drones that you can like purchase and just fly around with a camera?
Yeah. So, what's the problem?
Well, they don't know what they're going to do, and the drones flying right in the location of the fire, and that's the same place the helicopter needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, in our area, we had a helicopter and fire retardant plane collide about a decade ago, and it was a mess. Plane parts and body parts all over the place.
So what would happen if theoretically one of these helicopters did run into one of these drones?
It would take down a helicopter.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the blades are just carbon fiber blades. They're not that tough, and so it would knock a chunk out of the blade, possibly even knock the end off the blade, and down it comes. So they err on the side of caution and don't go where there's any chance of danger. It's already dangerous enough flying over the fire and birds and other things like that. So.
Yeah, and you might remember there was the Goose that took down the airplane a couple years ago near LaGuardia, where the guy wound up landing on the East River.
So, I mean, I still can't support charging somebody with a criminal act for flying a drone. I mean, what do you think, Tom? What's the right solution here?
Well, people should keep their drones out of a fire zone. Absolutely. If it was my house that burned down because somebody was flying a drone around and water wasn't being dumped on the fire, I certainly wouldn't be happy about it.
I mean, if your house is on fire, then odds are good it's already, going to be beyond repair once the helicopter finally dumps some water.
The way the helicopters are used is when you have a fire burning, it's moved by the wind in a direction, and the direction it's moving is called the head of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So the helicopters are used extensively right there at the head of the fire to stop its advance, and they are critical to initial attack on a fire to suppress the fire and stop its advance, so that the hand crews and the firefighters like myself can then lay a hose line around the fire and work on putting it out. So if the drone's preventing the helicopters from flying, that's a major resource that's not available for fire suppression.
Now, do they make that entire area a no-fly zone for anyone except for the fire department?
Good question. I don't know. I would assume so, but...
Because I feel like if you're flying a drone around in that area and, it's actually not a no-fly zone, then, I mean, who's actually to say... Who knew?
Well, what about news helicopters?
Right, exactly.
How many major...
they never come in close to those kinds of fires.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen one around. It's absolutely crazy when you get in there. You got those helicopters flying overhead, and sirens going off, and water being dumped, and then you got that's the helicopter portion of it. Then you got the bombers with the fire retardant coming in and dropping that, and doing drops, and then you got helicopters working above you, and it's an absolute pandemonium out there on those fire scenes. So that's what the issue is. The other issue that I'd like to talk about, though, is, are you guys familiar with, was it Carla Gericke, if I'm pronouncing her name properly?
Carla Gericke.
Gericke, okay. She's now stepped in as the president of the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence.
That's correct. Yep. That news came out, a month or so ago? A couple months ago, maybe? Max?
Yeah, about a month ago, I believe.
Yep.
And so she's trying to make New Hampshire an independent country?
Well, the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence has been around for a few years. She's now the president of the organization. So they've been doing a lot of outreach, and they've been trying to educate people about New Hampshire declaring independence from the United States. So her joining up is just, yet another feather in their cap, so to speak. She seems very energetic about it, so maybe she's going to bring a new energy to the foundation that they haven't had previously. But they're continuing in their mission.
So is that going to conflict with the Free State Project?
No, I don't see why it would. The Free State Project is an organization designed...
Two completely different things.
Yeah.
They are, yes.
The Free State Project is an organization that encourages libertarian types to move to New Hampshire. Some of those people who move for the Free State Project are in favor of secession. Some are not.
some of the movers are on the board of the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence.
That's correct. Yeah.
Some people that moved for the Free State Project helped form the New Hampshire Liberty Party, which is an openly secessionist political party.
Yep, and now there's NHExit.com, which has been founded by Dave Ridley, one of the earliest movers here for the Free State Project. So, no, the Free State Project has no factor in this process whatsoever. It just encourages people to move to New Hampshire.
So how do you guys feel about this? I mean, if you
feel about what?
I'm dealing here in California. As you know, I'm active in the Jefferson movement.
Right.
And
the secession movement.
we have a secession movement here in California called Yes California.
Right.
And Soros and some of his fine buddies and Pat Brown's buddies are behind Yes California. And my concern is that we end up with, no property rights, no constitution, and we get all the rights that the United Nations would be happy to deny us.
Yeah, I can see your concern living in California. What does that have to do with New Hampshire's secession movement?
Well, are the same people behind this secession movement?
Not to my knowledge. The Foundation for New Hampshire Independence, the NHExit, and the New Hampshire Liberty Party, three of the more active organizations in the New Hampshire secession movement, are all created by liberty-minded people. So, no, there's no socialists that I know of that are leading the charge for...
George Soros has not given me any money, if that's what you're asking.
Me either.
No, to my knowledge, there are no ultra-arch statists who are involved with the secession movement. I mean, there may be some secessionists in New Hampshire that are not liberty-minded, but they are not the ones who are in charge of the organizations that are leading the charge, so to speak.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm just concerned that, for you folks as well as us here, that as in a secession movement, you get a whole brand new country, and the Constitution is no longer in effect. Oh, yeah, I understand it's on the kind of the point, but private property values.
Well, the New Hampshire Constitution has been around longer than the United States Constitution, and in many ways is a better document. So, no, I'm not worried about what would happen. We're not under the oppressive protection of D.C.
There's so many what-ifs that you could factor in.
I'll still work with socialists who want to secede. As long as they support New Hampshire independence, I'll work with them. It doesn't bother me, because I understand that even once we can somehow accomplish this amazing feat of seceding one state from the Union, there's still going to be a lot of disagreements over how the state should be run at that point. So I'm not really going to concern myself with those disagreements until we can actually break away from the United States and we can cross those bridges when we come to them, so to speak. Tom, thanks for your call and the concern tonight. But as of right now, the secession movement, the New Hampshire independence movement here, is pretty much, from what I can tell, libertarian-led. All of the people on the board of directors of the Foundation for New Hampshire Independence are all pretty principled libertarians, from what I can tell. Voluntarists, they might describe themselves as anarchist. I'm not sure exactly the words they would use, but we know them all. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can join us here. People being arrested for free speech on Facebook and Twitter, criticizing cops. We'll talk about it on the way.
Adam Kokesh has agreed to meet Bernie Sanders in any city in America on any day between now and the end of the year for a friendly debate on socialism versus voluntarism, in which Bernie can choose an objective moderator. To sweeten the deal, Roger Ver, a.k.a. Bitcoin Jesus, has offered that upon completion of a 3-hour debate in which both men have equal time, he will donate a total of $100,000 worth of Bitcoin to the charity of each man's choice, $50,000 apiece. Learn more at bernie.freetalklive.com.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Tipping. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin tip returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card Bitcoin tip that's easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets and spending, and returns to the tipper if unused. Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com.
For years, LRN.FM has had a listen line that you can call and listen to LRN.FM anytime. Now we're taking the idea to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line. You can call 641-793-9660 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed, and you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 641-793-9660 and choose from the menu. 641-793-9660.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.40 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,341 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $668. Antiwar.com reports related to a complaint filed with the Israeli Justice Ministry. Reports out of the Israeli border police deployed in occupied East Jerusalem reveal that police in that department repeatedly and deliberately took actions designed to provoke a violent response from Palestinians to justify a further crackdown on them. The attorney who filed the initial report noted he finally got 10 reports out of the area and that they all noted police initiated friction activity, with police in the reports openly describing actions they took specifically to create friction with residents of the Arab village in the area. Israeli civil rights groups blasted the revelation, with one lawyer for such a group saying the actions totally contradict the role of the police and showed a serious disregard for human life in the occupied territories. The complaint was initially filed based on a January 6th incident in which border police entered a village and shot a 12-year-old boy in the head with a sponge bullet, putting him in a coma. Police defended this action, and others insisting their actions preserve the security and welfare of the public. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. UPI reports Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders officially endorsed Hillary Clinton, his Democratic rival, for the presidential nomination, ending what began as a long-shot campaign that exploded into a liberal political revolution. The announcement came Tuesday in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a state Sanders won handily in the primary, and which will be a battleground in Clinton's general election efforts against Republican Donald Trump. Sanders had, in effect, lost the nomination contest many weeks ago when, before the California primary, multiple media outlets reported Clinton had gained the number of delegates needed to clinch the nomination, thanks to superdelegates coming to her side. Still, the liberal firebrand Sanders did not relent, pledging to campaign until all the votes were cast, and even after that. After a closed-door White House meeting with President Barack Obama, a defiant Sanders said he was still not dropping out of the race, and standing in front of the White House portico told reporters he would continue campaigning until the Democratic convention in Cleveland. That changed on Tuesday when Sanders formally endorsed Clinton and encouraged his impassioned supporters to vote for her in November. The political effects of Sanders' endorsement is not yet clear. Polls have shown up to 1 in 4 Sanders supporters said they would not vote for Hillary in the general election. Sanders seemingly spoke directly to those individuals during his endorsement speech, repeatedly using words like listening, believes, and understands when describing Hillary's positions on his agenda. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports for the first time a federal judge has suppressed evidence obtained without a warrant by U.S. law enforcement using a Stingray. U.S. District Judge William Pauley in Manhattan on Tuesday ruled that defendant Raymond Lambus's rights were violated when the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration used a device without a warrant to find his Bronx apartment. The DEA had used a Stingray to identify the apartment of Lambus as the most likely location of a cell phone identified during a drug trafficking probe. Pauley said doing so constituted an unreasonable search. Pauley wrote, absent a search warrant, the government may not turn a citizen's cell phone into a tracking device. The ruling marked the first time a federal judge had suppressed evidence obtained using a Stingray, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, which, like many privacy advocacy groups, had criticized law enforcement use of such devices. Stingrays, also known as cell site simulators, mimic cell phone towers in order to force cell phones in the area to transmit pings back to the devices, enabling law enforcement to track a suspect's phone and pinpoint its location. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Markets went into a frenzy today after the price of money suddenly skyrocketed to $90 a dollar. Onion reporters spoke to economics professor Mark Cosgrave about the soaring cost of U.S. currency and the impact of increasingly unpredictable dollar-to-dollar rates.
Right now, money prices are steeply rising with no signs of slowing down. This morning alone, the price of dollars nearly tripled, with 1 cent worth approximately $6. That's exponentially higher than even a week ago when money was trading at roughly $53 on the dollar. To put it bluntly, we're now in the midst of a national economic crisis.
According to Cosgrave, the abrupt spike in dollar prices initially caused many Americans to hold on to their money, hoping that the $90 cost of dollars would soon dip back down. But as prices continued to climb, investors panicked and began purchasing as much money as possible.
But with the cost of quarters hitting $4.97 and the $5 bill jumping to a 12-year high of $372, the days when you could get $30 or $40 for just a couple of bucks are unfortunately long gone.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Should free speech be a crime? Some people say yes. Some of those people are police officers. They've been arresting people for posting to Facebook and Twitter, let's just say, less than friendly things about their opinions regarding the police in this country. They're being targeted now for speaking out. We'll share that story with you. You can join us. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. In the studio tonight, it's me, Ian.
And Bud.
And Daryl.
Let's go to the phones. To the fun. We do, I believe, have Ralph. Actually, we will be having Ralph here. There's still something we're waiting on before we can put him on the line. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. We'll get into the story about Facebook and Twitter where police are arresting people for posting what they want about the police. First up, though, Ralph is in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Ralph.
Yes, I'm glad that you get to me right away. Okay, right off the bat, I'm going to say this. What happened there in Dallas, Texas is an act of racial terrorism. Okay? That being said, I'm of the opinion...
Racial terrorism? You're talking about where the police were shot by a man, at least one man, allegedly?
By an animal, right. Okay.
Well, why do you call him an animal? I mean, he was angry at the police for their oppression of people around the United States.
I kind of like wonder, right? I kind of like wonder with you white guilty. You depend, animalistic tendency on people. But let me go
on. The what?
Okay?
The animalistic tendency? Is that what you said?
That's what he said.
Well, no, I actually don't defend the man's actions. I think it was wrong. I think it was wrong what he did.
Okay, all right.
But I don't call people animals because they're angry and they're lashing out. I mean, people are rightfully upset about the abuse of the police.
Let me go on. I'm of the opinion that the root cause, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, the root cause of the tension between the blacks and the police is black criminality. And, white guilty...
No, the root cause isn't black criminality. The root cause is the police abusing peaceful people, the police
you don't allow me to finish.
We have had you on time and time again. Go ahead. We know what you're going to say.
I am of the opinion that black criminality, just like black bigotry, there's the complicity, there's the condoning of white guilt. With regard to that, I'm sick and tired of this already. I have to deal with you before I deal with them.
Look, dude, I don't have any white guilt here, okay?
If you want to have a country, stand up like a man. Let we human.
Okay, I don't understand.
I don't know if those were words. And if they were, I don't know if they were English.
Were you speaking Filipino right there?
You're becoming like an animal, just like Obama.
Well, at least he knows Obama is an animal.
All three of us in the studio tonight do have one thing in common with Barack Obama, and this was pointed out to me by a coworker of mine 8 years ago. We all have a white mother.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you done? So what kind of a mother do you have then?
He says he has a white mother, is what he said.
Oh, okay.
Just like Barack Obama, apparently.
As far as
but really, the color of someone's skin is completely irrelevant, and you're the one who keeps bringing it up, Ralph. You're obsessed with the color of people's skin.
How about Obama bringing up the issue of race all the time?
You brought up Obama.
Yeah, I don't support Obama, okay? I don't support George W. Bush, who, by the way, were both on the same stage yesterday at the Dallas Police Memorial, where they were actually, George Bush was dancing. Did you see that footage?
I saw that. It was weird.
Yeah, it was. Thanks, Ralph, for the call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. The problem isn't with black criminality, as he is saying. People are upset because of the criminality of the police. If all the police were doing was arresting real criminals who are violent, let's say murderers, rapists, arsonists, people that destroy property, other people who actually hurt other people, if that's all the police were doing, they would have friends of all colors, shapes, and sizes. People would appreciate that kind of work because most people don't appreciate violent thugs being in the streets no matter what the color of their skin is.
Right. I don't like being kidnapped and told I have to pay, a certain amount of money or I'm going to get thrown in a cage for a certain amount of time.
That's what just happened to you.
Exactly.
You had cannabis. The cops pulled you over when you were with Rich Paul, one of our other co-hosts here on Free Talk Live, and they arrested you for a cannabis charge.
Yep.
You didn't hurt anybody, but it's the fact that the police do that, and was it white cops?
It was white cops,
yes.
yes.
You're a white guy. They went after you for this, just like they go after plenty of other people for this.
And the funny thing is that the only reason you guys got caught is you decided instead of driving down the street while smoking, we'll pull off into this rest
and be
area.
safe, so we're not, causing maybe, an accident somewhere or something. It's really hard to smoke going 80 miles an hour.
The cops were, scoping out this area because they thought that people were selling heroin there.
Right. They were waiting for someone. Yeah, there was a sting operation. They were waiting for people to come through, trafficking heroin and doing stuff in the parking lot.
But my point is, people are upset because the police continue to target innocent drug users, drug dealers, people who are peaceful. They're not harming other people. They target them with all this nonsense, all these trumped-up charges. They extract thousands of dollars from them in obedience. Now, you did some community service, so you didn't end up paying the state, but you still had the inconvenience of having to go to court more than one occasion, which is 2 hours away. And
you were at court today.
Yeah, today I had to run out there because I couldn't get a hold of anybody for
and you
the
had
last
to hand
4
them a
days.
piece of paper. You had to go all the way out
to physically hand them. I had to drive 2 hours to drive and hand them a piece of paper.
So, this is what makes people angry at police. The fact that not just the fact that they're murdering peaceful people, there's that too. That's what's getting people out into the streets. But if it was the police just every now and then accidentally killing the wrong person, that'd be one thing.
Maybe like it used to be.
But it's dozens, if not hundreds. I believe there was 1,000 last year of innocent people who were their lives were taken by police.
And I believe it was 1,100. I've actually got the number pulled up in front of me right now.
That's crazy to me.
So far this year, the 13th day of July, there have been 624 people killed by police.
They're on track to exceed last year, I think.
Last year, there was 1,208. In 2014, there were, and this is pulling up here, 1,111 since May 1st of 2013. During year, there were 773. So there's already been well over 3,700 people killed by the police since May 1st of 2013.
That's got to be coming close to like the amount of deaths in the war. Like
I believe
it's
is
more than
over.
How is that
the
not
number of,
a problem?
If you
How
don't,
is it that
if you don't include soldiers killing themselves, then yeah,
Right,
that would be
right.
higher.
How is it that, we can sit here and say, yeah, you break these laws, it's a bad thing, blah, 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 and then be okay with the fact that, okay, so we're going to incarcerate you, we're going to put you in a cage, blah, 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 and then you get out and you realize, okay, well, I'm not the only person who's having to go through this, and you see all these other people doing just regular stuff, not having a care in the world, and doing stuff that makes them happy and things that really aren't affecting anybody else. And then all of a sudden, these guys come and they take your money and they turn you upside down and they shake you out. And
You're lucky if you keep your job or your house after those cops arrest you for the peaceful act.
Right. And then on top of it, I know that if I don't do this, I might get shot. Like, they might think that I'm trying to resist somehow or another.
Even if you do comply with their every order, you still might get shot.
Yes.
There was a story that I was reading just a couple days ago to where the transcripts finally came out for an incident in, I think it was January or March of this year, where police in Arizona killed a man. The man was sobbing as he complied and said, "Please don't kill me." They told him to crawl across the floor. He reached to pull up his shorts because they were falling off, and they said, "Don't reach for your waistband," and shot him.
Jeez.
Sick. 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number, and so, of course, people are going to take to the internet and speak out about this. Now that's resulting in arrests. We'll tell you more about that on the way. 855-450-FREE. You can join us. This is Free Talk Live.
This is a life-changing message for anyone with sleep apnea who is on the go and tired of dragging around a big, bulky home CPAP device. MiniCPAP.com now offers a portable device that's as small as a soda can and weighs less than a pound. For even more freedom, you can add a battery that's as tiny as a deck of cards. It's called the Transcend Mini CPAP, and right now you can try it risk-free for 10 days by calling 1-800-941-9483. Transcend is the world's first portable mini CPAP device. It gives you the freedom to sleep in total comfort anywhere you are. Our smallest and most advanced portable design ever, Transcend is so small and so light you can fit it in your briefcase or purse to use anywhere you go. It's FAA compliant too, so you can even sleep comfortably while flying. Enjoy the freedom to sleep comfortably anywhere. Call minicpap.com now for your 10-day at-home trial. 1-800-941-9483. That's 1-800-941-9483.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. I know this sounds unbelievable, but at my house, we saved as much as 45% off of a new item. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live shows 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live, and you can join us on the air right here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And perhaps you've heard about insecurities with some of those online exchanges. You ever heard of MTGOX? It was one of the first major failures in the world of the Bitcoin online exchanges. I recently had one of the exchanges that I've used just within the last week. They got hacked, which is no fun when that happens, especially if you've got your assets tied up in those exchanges. Well, guess what? There's a much safer way to exchange digital assets like cryptocurrencies, and that is to keep them in your own wallets and use Shapeshift.io. It allows you to buy, exchange, and even trade your digital assets while keeping them safe. It's super easy to use. I've used it on more than one occasion. Shapeshift.io. Most recently, I wanted to change the altcoins that I had, like Litecoin and Namecoin, into Ether. So I used Shapeshift.io to do that, and it's super easy. There was no account that I needed to create. They don't even ask for your email address. It's an excellent website. It's got my unqualified endorsement. Shapeshift.io. That's Shapeshift.io. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Dodger is on the line in Michigan. You're on Free Talk Live, Dodger.
Well, hi, Ian, Daryl, and is that Bud there as well?
Yep, we got Bud. Go ahead.
All right. Well, Bud, it sounds like you and I probably within a day of each other became victimless criminals, and I just wanted to call for a little update. I called and talked to Ian and Johnson last night, and about my victimless crime of essentially flipping off a police officer. And so, just a little update. I'm getting charged with disorderly conduct for that, and I decided to go down to the law library today, and I can't read this crap. I mean, seriously, gentlemen, I mean, this stuff is way over my head. So one thing I do know that I would like to do, and unfortunately I'm not going to have a chance to do it, the trial, which is August 25th, I'm not going to have a chance to go out there and do any sort of jury outreach because I'm supposed to be inside the courthouse at the time that the courthouse opens.
This is where having other liberty-minded people around can really assist with things.
Absolutely.
Which I, highly recommend that libertarians, voluntarists, anarchists, people who love liberty, move to New Hampshire and get active. We've got people who will come. Like tomorrow, Rob Mathias from the Rebel Love Show is having a trial in Manchester. I'm going to travel all the way out there for it to support him and record video of the
as you
trial.
did with my court proceedings.
That's right.
And I think you actually handed out some outreach information at the arraignment there.
I sure did. I made a double duty, so I made it really worth my while to go out there. So yeah, it's no fun when you have to go to court alone, and that's the situation that people all around the country find themselves in. Sometimes it's hard to even get your own mother to come with you to court, or even someone who's close to you. They're always busy or whatever, or they don't support you. Oh, you broke the law. You're a bad boy. You're going to have to go this one alone. But the people out there who love freedom, they will get behind you if they're in physical proximity to you. And the nice thing about being in New Hampshire is we've got a larger community of libertarians and voluntarists here than anywhere else in the world. So just want to make that clear. I know you probably already know that, Dodger, but for anybody who's new to the show, they should be aware of that. But so you're saying you're having trouble reading the statutes, reading the code about the disorderly conduct charge?
Well, yes. I mean, it's all in some language I don't even understand. I mean,
like an actual foreign language, or it's just hard to understand?
Well, no. It's legalese. And,
okay.
I tried to bury myself in some books. I tried to do some Google searches, and I think that I've got a list of precedences where whether appellate courts or the Supreme Court have essentially indicated the fact that flipping somebody off is, well, it's a First Amendment right. It doesn't matter if they have a badge or not. It's First Amendment right.
Right.
Now the question is, what? And this is where I'm having the hardest problem is what they define as disorderly conduct. And essentially, it sounds like pretty much if a cop gets mad at you for doing something towards them, it's disorderly conduct.
Yeah, the disorderly conduct statutes in most places that I've seen them are very vague, very nebulous. They're written in a way that they can be used as a catch-all charge for just what you said. If a cop doesn't like you and they want to hit you with something, they'll hit you with disorderly conduct. That doesn't mean that you couldn't put in a motion to dismiss. Now, this isn't legal advice. I'm not an attorney. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't put in a motion to dismiss, citing these cases that you're talking about and saying, look, this is not disorderly conduct. This is freedom of expression. And, motion to dismiss. Here's all the case law that is supporting my argument. Whether the judge will dismiss it or not is another question, but at the very least, you get all your arguments into the record of the court at that point, and you can, in theory, appeal on any one of those.
What class misdemeanor was this for you? Is this a Class B misdemeanor?
There's different classes.
I'm not even.
They may not even have Class A, Class B in Michigan.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what class it is. It was a low enough class to where the court didn't even find the ability to give me a court-appointed attorney. So it has to be like one of the lowest classes of misdemeanors that one can get.
But what you told us before was that you can get a jury trial for this. So that's one difference between.
See, that's where I was going. Like, if you couldn't get the jury trial, then, there's really, I feel like there's not much you can do aside from really try to fight your case, but it's up to the judge.
That's the thing. A big question here is it going to be a better case in front of a judge or in front of a jury?
Right.
The judge would have Go ahead.
And that's what I'm trying to decide, because I was given the option of a jury trial or a bench trial, and I'm not exactly sure which one to take. I'd much rather, based on jury nullification, if I had people, and I know that there are pro-liberty organizations here, like the Michigan Peace and Liberty Coalition here in Michigan, but they're pretty much primarily on the east side of the state. And, I know that,
even with jury outreach, your odds with the jury are, a crapshoot at best. We've done some pretty consistent jury outreach here in New Hampshire and have had very, very limited results, even on trials where it was really obvious that the police had done wrong. A good example of that would be the occupiers in Manchester who went into a park after 11 o'clock at night, were ordered to leave by the police. We showed, or the ACLU took the case, and they showed pretty clearly. They talked about jury nullification. They said this is a bad law. It's clearly unconstitutional. Banning somebody just because it's an arbitrary time of night from a park is ridiculous. and they made a real strong case, and we gave them jury nullification information, and they still found him guilty.
Still didn't care.
Nonetheless.
Well, the city council looked at this just a couple of years ago, and they didn't repeal it, so therefore it must be good.
Was that what one of the jurors said at the
Yeah, she's the same lady that said that they would have convicted Gandhi.
Keep us in the loop, Dodger. Good luck out there.
I just wanted to ask, one of the reasons that I was calling was to ask.
Hold the line. Hold that thought then. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Worried about lead, fluoride, and other contaminants in your drinking water? Get a ProPure with the Pro 1G 2.0 cleanable reusable filter and remove up to 200 contaminants. Drink water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure products, including the new ProMax shower filter. There's a ProPure for you. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer for details or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com.
Money, power, and respect are all yours at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Be seen as an industry leader. You can do it. The last application you filled out when it was time to hit submit did your nerves spike. You didn't get the approval you seek, but there's a better way. We teach you exactly what to place into the right systems the right way the first time so you get approved. Get up to $100,000 in instant business credit. Many people will get cash on the spot. Use those two tools in your new corporate credit engine so you can walk into the bank and get your project funded today. It's all about today at CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com. Credit Success Secrets Revealed is explosive and ignites instant results. Dial 1-800-707-8719. That's 1-800-707-8719. 1-800-707-8719. Or just go to CreditSuccessSecretsRevealed.com.
There's no better app for tracking the value of cryptocurrencies than CoinCap. I've had a lot of apps for tracking Bitcoin, but none that's ever been able to track 500 digital assets at once. Their best feature is the Altfolio. I love this thing. You enter how many Bitcoins, Ether, Dash, Doge, or whatever else you have, and it tells you how much your crypto is worth. You can watch yourself get rich. If you have crypto, go right now to coincap.io, or you can use the Apple Store or Google Play to get the app. I love CoinCap. coincap.io.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Understanding your credit score is the first step towards managing and improving it. This is Charlie Sundstrom with your Van Dyke Mortgage Minute. The most influential component of your credit score is your payment history. Almost equally as important is the amount you owe on credit accounts. Also impacting your score, but to a lesser degree, are the length of time you've utilized your credit, the number of new accounts, credit inquiries, and your various types of credit accounts. To help achieve or maintain a healthy credit score, have a system set up to assure your bills are always paid on time. Don't max out your cards. It's better to have a high credit limit with a low balance. Never close old accounts. The age of these can actually help your credit score. But don't be afraid to use your credit. You need several accounts in order to have a credit score. Just keep the corresponding payments within your means. For your mortgage pre-approval and refi needs, start by visiting VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. All you have to do is join us here toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We have Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. With you in studio, Ian here.
And Bud.
And Daryl.
Back to the phones and to the fun. But first, want to tell you about My Pillow and Daryl's pillow and Renee's pillow, and Mark's got one as well. These things have been fantastic so far. MyPillow.com. There's a 60-day money-back guarantee on the My Pillow. Maybe you've heard of this thing. Apparently, it's got a pretty solid advertising campaign behind it on television and elsewhere. The My Pillow is designed to fit to the shape of your body and hold your neck in the proper position. Your chronic headaches, neck, and even back pain can be solved with the right pillow. So concentrate on the position of your head and neck tonight when you go to bed. Your spine should be straight and parallel to the floor. Now, there's really a lot of choices when it comes to the My Pillow, as far as not just the size, but also the fill level of the pillows. You can go to mypillow.com, learn more about their product, and when you're ready, use code FTL and you will get a second pillow for no extra cost. Or if you want, I found this out by poking around their website, if you really just want one pillow, you can still use the code FTL and you'll get it for half off. So nice. Pretty sweet. That's what you need to know when you go to mypillow.com. The warranty on the pillow, 10 years, so it's going to last you. Plus, you can wash this thing. I've never owned a pillow I could put in the washer and dryer. This thing you can do that with, which means you can keep it clean, because those other pillows, who knows what kind of dust mites and little bugs or whatever it is that
drool and
they're
stuff
gathering inside them over all those years. MyPillow.com, code FTL for the
I don't think I've ever owned a pillow for 10 years.
All right. Well, some people hold on to them for a long time. This one, 10-year warranty. Let's go to the phones. Dodger had another question. He's facing a criminal charge of disorderly conduct for flipping off a cop there in, I think, in Michigan, western Michigan. Go ahead, Dodger. You had another question.
Yes, actually, I just I know that you guys don't necessarily give legal advice, but based on your guys' experiences, and I would like to hear from all three of you based on this, should I stick with the jury trial, or do you think that it might be better off just going with the bench trial in front of a judge?
Allow me to ask this question that you might not have the answer to right now. If you opt for a bench trial, can you then do what they call a de novo trial before the jury?
Can you elaborate?
So here in New Hampshire, and I don't know if other states allow this or not, but I know New Hampshire does, they allow you to go before a judge with a bench trial for things that qualify for a jury.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, assuming that you're convicted, as you most likely will be, then you can request what's called a de novo, meaning from the beginning, completely new, so that the conviction in front of the judge is wiped clean, but you then know the prosecutor's playbook.
Right. You know what witnesses they're gonna call, the questions they're gonna ask. I mean, they could change it somewhat between one trial and another, but generally,
but they're not going to change it too much.
Right. Generally, you'll get to see their evidence beyond just the discovery phase. So, the question is that available in Michigan? And I don't know who you would have to ask to find that out.
I've had exactly half a day of research on this after I got out of work today. I went down to the law library and tried to read through the legalese and wasn't able to make heads or tails of it. So I don't know, Daryl.
Yeah, well, because if you do have that ability, then it makes sense to take the bench trial, because then you can go to a jury trial if you fail at the bench trial. In the case of what you're facing with the disorderly conduct charge, the judge may be better at looking at the other cases and saying, oh, well, okay, well, this is ridiculous, case dismissed, whereas a jury might be able to be persuaded that you are a bad boy and you've been naughty around the police, and the police are our heroes and our protectors, and it doesn't matter what the law says. We can't just open the police off, otherwise it'll be anarchy, and so they'll find you guilty anyway.
But I mean, of course, there's the other end of the spectrum where who knows? Maybe the judge might think you're guilty right off the rip because he's like that, and maybe you would have gotten better off with a jury. I mean,
well, certainly the judge it's no skin off the judge's back to find you guilty.
Right.
But some judges don't want to be overturned at an appeal.
Right.
So,
And if you do go to the bench, then if there is a de novo, then you can take that option.
I'm not sure if this makes much of a difference because I actually got to experience this judge for an entire day making rulings on cases. And there was one case that came in front of him. I'm not sure if this makes any difference at all, but he said that I could actually choose to have the case be seen in front of him. Like I actually would be able to pick the judge that I'd get to have the case seen in front of. And somebody actually went in front of him and attempted to plead guilty. Then as soon as they gave the testimony, the judge actually looked at the lady and said, it sounds based on your testimony that you're not guilty, so I'm going to make you go to a jury trial or to a bench trial. And he actually seemed like he was in people's court almost, for lack of a better term, like he almost was more for the defendant. So I'm not sure, but that's something.
Or maybe he was just actually doing his job and judging whether or not that this person has been committed a crime or wrongfully
this
accused,
is a tough choice. I wouldn't tell you to go any one way or another. Again, I can't give legal advice.
Right, none of us are lawyers. So.
But all that considered, generally judges are better at understanding the law. Now, whether that will help you or not in this circumstance still just depends on the judge and what the facts of the case are.
Right. There's a lot of variables that you need to know that you don't know right now and may never ever know.
Well, Dale, that definitely brought up a good point, something that I didn't think about. So at the very least, that gave me, I think, the ammunition that I need to go forward and to determine exactly what I need to do. So thank you, gentlemen.
Good luck, Dodger. Good luck. Keep us in the loop on that. Appreciate your call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. And I would also recommend planning a move to New Hampshire where you can actually be around people who've got experience in the system. There's plenty of us who've gone through the system at various different levels that can help out with explaining what it was like to go to criminal court or go to jail or go to prison or whatever, and help make somebody's experience a little bit easier. It's not necessarily an easy thing to go through this anywhere. I'm not saying that being in New Hampshire is going to be a panacea for you, that all of a sudden everything is going to work out and that you're going to be able to get off the criminal charge. But at the very least, you won't have to do it alone. That's something that is a big difference here. And I highly recommend people go and check out the Shire Society at shiresociety.com. You can sign the Shire Society Declaration, which is a personal declaration of independence, and then you can start planning your move to get to New Hampshire. There are liberty-minded people all around the state who are natives and who've come in here for the Shire Society and other migrations as well. Let's go to Ricky. He's on the line in Pennsylvania. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ricky.
Brothers, Ian and Daryl.
And Bud. Bud's here, too. Go ahead, Ricky.
And Bud. Yes, and that would be, if you don't mind me saying so, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
All right, then.
Thank you. I want to make a quick comment, but this is not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about being on the air from Pennsylvania, but I heard Ralph called in, and I remember my equation. My math was really good that night, and that's what we need to do. We needed to all of us who listen need to help Ralph, so he has his education, and maybe remind him of it. And then I think already we probably
help
have
him with
our
what?
Calling from New Jersey as opposed to myself, and that's what I want to talk tonight, because I call from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
I am a little bit clueless to how we're going to help Ralph. Are you saying we should help Ralph get out of get out of New Jersey? Because I mean, that's not a bad idea.
No,
everybody should get out of New Jersey.
Ricky. Hold on. I don't know where you're going with this, but we'll find out.
I don't think Ricky knows where he's going either.
We'll see if he can figure it out here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. You can join us. Bring up what's on your mind. Cops arresting people in the United States now for posting on Facebook and Twitter recently. It's Free Talk Live. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Here's a good idea. When you have a legal matter like creating your will or legally setting up a business with a corporation or LLC, you don't necessarily need a law firm. Use LegalZoom.com. At LegalZoom.com, you answer straightforward questions online, and they take care of the rest. They even review your answers for common mistakes and guarantee your satisfaction. Free Talk Live listeners, you'll get 10% off your order by typing in FTL in the referral box at purchase. Don't procrastinate with these important legal documents. LegalZoom.com.
Dangerous blood clot device alert. If you or a loved one had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to your heart or lungs and suffered an injury, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, and even death. These dangerous blood clot devices can break, and the metal fragments can travel to your heart or lungs, causing serious injuries. If you or a loved one suffered organ damage or other injuries from an IVC filter, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. 800-478-1507. This is an advertisement. Paid non-attorney spokesperson. InjuryHelpDesk.com is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1. Share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers, not a mega corporation. As a driver with Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for or ride with Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and has been making headlines for disrupting the ride-sharing industry. Sign up now at arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Coming up, we'll tell you more about what has happened with people being arrested for their posts on Facebook and Twitter. Certainly not the first time things like that have happened. It's just the most recent iterations of it after the shootings of police in Detroit, or excuse me, not Detroit, in Dallas last week. It was people in Detroit who've been arrested. We'll tell you about that. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Not just Detroit, but elsewhere. The arrests are happening in a variety of places. But first, we go back to Ricky. He's on the line in Pennsylvania. Ricky, what was it that you were driving at there? Because we were all super confused, which isn't unusual for your calls.
Pennsylvania, as opposed to someone in New Jersey who goes under the Constitution of the United States because it's a union state. in Pennsylvania, we ratified our Constitution. We are the second in the country that did it 5 days after Delaware. When I talk on the air, I, to a T, follow Sector 7 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and that overrides the First Amendment. But it goes hand in hand pursuant to Section 25 and 26.
No one knows what you're talking about.
I didn't think there was anything that overrode the Constitution.
Daryl's like a Constitution dude, and he lived in Pennsylvania, and he looks confused.
Because Pennsylvania already seceded, and they ratified their Constitution 5 days after Delaware created theirs. We became a Commonwealth.
What are you talking about? Pennsylvania seceded. When did that happen?
Because we are 1874, I believe it was, or something of that nature. I believe it was of that area. It was 5 days after
you can't
Delaware.
be a Commonwealth unless you secede?
Somebody needs to tell that to Massachusetts, Virginia, Kentucky.
So you're saying Pennsylvania seceded from the United States in the late 1800s?
Correct. And what it comes down to is the Commonwealth and the states, there's no territories left. The last one that was eligible.
No, there's a bunch of territories. There's Puerto Rico, Guam, the Virgin Islands, American Samoa.
That's not what I mean, Daryl. I mean the last one that was eligible as far as a territory in the world was the Philippines that used the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in the 1930s as a carrier to become part of the Commonwealth of Nations. Now, their Commonwealth is different than ours because we go by our Constitution. Okay, in Pennsylvania, they have their own Constitution, but they are a Commonwealth.
What's the point? I mean, what is the point? Why should anyone?
He's just throwing out weird legal buzzwords and making it up as he goes along.
I'm not Daryl, but I'll tell you what the point is.
I know you're not Daryl. You're Ricky.
So what does Pennsylvania being a Commonwealth state have anything to do with Ralph?
Nothing.
Nothing. Because in New Jersey, he can talk his racism. If he was in Pennsylvania at the union level at the FCC,
you don't think he would be as racist there or talk about racism?
Oh, he would be. He would be.
So what's the difference?
He'd probably be more racist in Pennsylvania.
No, the people of the Commonwealth, I'm talking the legislature and everyone in it would come after him.
So wait, there's no freedom of speech in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
There is, but keeping with...
Sounds like freedom of speech to me.
Keeping with Sector 7. If somebody could pull it up, I'd appreciate it, because I don't see good. That's why I don't read anything. Of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Do they really call them sectors in the Pennsylvania
I don't think they do.
Commonwealth?
In the document, it does. It's
Sector 7. It sounds like a spaceship or something.
Please report to Sector 7.
It's pretty crazy sometimes when you talk about the Union and the Commonwealth. Yeah. I heard your show earlier.
So why are they going to come after Ricky exactly? You said there's freedom of speech. Ralph, excuse me.
They're not going to.
Ricky,
Ralph. Well, the people would, because if he was a resident of the Commonwealth.
So wait, a mob of people would.
Lynch mob.
Every citizen has the right under Section 20 to petition.
Sector 20 or Section 20?
It's actually Sector 20, but
Sector 20.
No, I'm looking at the Pennsylvania Constitution right now. It's section.
So what is Section 7 then? What does Section 7 have to do with
Section 7? Freedom of press and speech. The printing press shall be free to every person who may undertake to examine the proceedings of the legislature or any branch of government, and no law shall ever be made to restrain the right thereof. The free communication of thoughts and opinions is one of the invaluable rights of man, and every citizen may freely speak, write, and print on any subject, being responsible for the abuse of that liberty. No conviction shall be had in any prosecution for the publication of papers related to the official conduct of officers or men in public capacity, or to any other matter proper for public investigation or information, where the fact that such publication was not maliciously or negligently made shall be established to the satisfaction of the jury.
Too many words. It said free speech in there earlier.
Yes.
I mean, it kind of sounds like the exact opposite of what you're saying, man. It sounds like they would absolutely let Ralph have a good time there.
if you could, Section 25.
No, I've had enough. Thanks for the call,
It's
Ricky.
important.
You go lynch somebody. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Section 25, to guard against the transgressions of the high powers that we have delegated, we declare that everything in this article except out of the general powers of the government shall forever remain inviolate.
Okay. Let's go on.
I don't know how that relates to Ralph in New Jersey.
Well, you should have been reading the
Pennsylvania
sectors.
being
Maybe it makes sense in Sector 20.
Right. See, if you had actually found the real Pennsylvania Constitution, which has sectors instead of sections.
Oh, so it's not the one that's on the state.pa.us?
Right, because it's not a state. It's a
right,
Commonwealth.
but that's the official website for Pennsylvania.
Well, they've got you fooled.
It's the Keystone Commonwealth, man, not the Keystone State.
Dude, I used to live there. They use the term state and commonwealth interchangeably.
I mean, like
The
mostly
big
any
college
place
is
that
Penn State University, not Penn Commonwealth.
All right, let's.
There's no freaking difference between a state and a commonwealth.
Oh boy, you're just making somebody's really mad now hearing you say that. Let's go to Rob in Virginia, listening to WSVG in Mount
Also a
Jackson.
commonwealth,
Hey,
meaning
Rob.
that he's not under the Constitution because something that Ricky said.
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, greetings from Sector 7 of the Commonwealth. Yeah, we're not subject to the Constitution of the U.S. or anything. No,
Right.
we can't tell you who you can marry. The state of Virginia, Commonwealth of Virginia, doesn't have a single law that the federal government hasn't stomped on. But that's not what I'm calling about. I'm calling about another sector, which is do you want a judge or do you want a jury?
Yeah, good question.
And what that really breaks down to, well, perfect lawyer answer is on the one hand and then on the other hand. Both parties, a judge or a jury, have to fall into what I think is one of the two philosophies of how to conduct yourself in the courtroom. And that is, do you follow the law and interpret the law, or do you just do whatever the hell you want, you think is right? Because I think a good judge will follow the law because that's their role. If they want the law changed,
In theory, yes, you would hope that they would.
yeah, I mean, but I mean, lots of times I've seen judges say, "I do not want to hand down this sentence. This is a manifest injustice, but my hands are tied. That's what the law is. It's a third strike. I have to give you 5 years for that can of beans you stole from Walmart."
Mm-hmm.
And so
Well, it's very black and white to them. Either you did it or you didn't. Either you broke the law or you didn't break the law. It doesn't matter. Any sort of in-between context, it's irrelevant.
And then the other, and that's kind of what a judge is for, to have a human factor in there. But then the other thing is, I've seen a million judges that are just, they're that, well, I'm on a radio, they're that lawyer that everyone hates, that you make all the judges about, that make all the jokes about. Then because they had enough political influence, somebody put a black dress on them. And suddenly they're inviolable kind of religious, almost like a priest, that can change. Now they can change the bread and wine into the actual body of Christ.
Right.
Well,
Because they're wearing
manifestation
a
of
black
power
robe.
does that to people.
Yeah, that they're just not that their power has gone to their heads, but just suddenly society is supposed to view judges as these, detached. I mean, look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She's a lunatic. Oh yeah, the place would be terrible if presidential choice A. I'm leaving the country if Trump gets elected. I mean, any other judge in the world would be thrown out. All I'm saying is you're not great when they change you from a lawyer to a judge by throwing a dress on.
Okay. But what about, should the guy facing a charge for disorderly conduct for flipping a cop off, should he go with the judge or should he go with the jury?
Well, you've got to, if you're in rural Virginia where I am, you're going with a judge all day long because you got Law and Order, God and Country, Gary Falwell type people. They're like the police are good, and so you're going with a judge and you hope that he's heard of those law things or that Constitution dealing about.
On the other hand, if you can get just one juror to vote not guilty, you've got a hung jury. So, is it easier to convince 1 out of 12 or a professional? Yeah. It's a tough question. I don't know if you got more to share. You can, though, if you'd like, Rob. It's Free Talk Live, Hour 3 coming up.
For Bitcoin to be ubiquitous, people need to use it. For people to use it, they must have it. How can we get Bitcoin into more hands? Well, tipping might be a great way. What if you could include a bonus Bitcoin tip along with your regular tip to a server? What if that Bitcoin returned to you if unclaimed after 30 days? An attractive business card-sized Bitcoin tip that is easily claimed, gives instructions on wallets, spending, and returns to the user if unused? Tip.freetalklive.com. Tip.freetalklive.com. Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Wednesday, gold is $12 higher at $1,345 per ounce. Silver is 19 cents higher at $20.41 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $659 US. Robertson Roberts Brokerage has been helping clients buy and sell precious metals for nearly 40 years. For more information, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.40 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,341 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $668. Antiwar.com reports related to a complaint filed with the Israeli Justice Ministry. Reports out of the Israeli border police deployed in occupied East Jerusalem reveal that police in that department repeatedly and deliberately took actions designed to provoke a violent response from Palestinians to justify a further crackdown on them. The attorney who filed the initial report noted he finally got 10 reports out of the area and that they all noted police initiated friction activity, with police in the reports openly describing actions they took specifically to create friction with residents of the Arab village in the area. Israeli civil rights groups blasted the revelation, with one lawyer for such a group saying the actions totally contradict the role of the police and showed a serious disregard for human life in the occupied territories. The complaint was initially filed based on a January 6th incident in which border police entered a village and shot a 12-year-old boy in the head with a sponge bullet, putting him in a coma. Police defended this action, and others insisting their actions preserve the security and welfare of the public. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. UPI reports Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders officially endorsed Hillary Clinton, his Democratic rival, for the presidential nomination, ending what began as a long-shot campaign that exploded into a liberal political revolution. The announcement came Tuesday in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a state Sanders won handily in the primary, and which will be a battleground in Clinton's general election efforts against Republican Donald Trump. Sanders had, in effect, lost the nomination contest many weeks ago when, before the California primary, multiple media outlets reported Clinton had gain the number of delegates needed to clinch the nomination, thanks to superdelegates coming to her side. Still, the liberal firebrand Sanders did not relent, pledging to campaign until all the votes were cast, and even after that. After a closed-door White House meeting with President Barack Obama, a defiant Sanders said he was still not dropping out of the race, and standing in front of the White House portico told reporters he would continue campaigning until the Democratic convention in Cleveland. That changed on Tuesday when Sanders formally endorsed Clinton and encouraged his impassioned supporters to vote for her in November. The political effects of Sanders' endorsement is not yet clear. Polls have shown up to 1 in 4 Sanders supporters said they would not vote for Hillary in the general election. Sanders seemingly spoke directly to those individuals during his endorsement speech, repeatedly using words like listening, believes, and understands when describing Hillary's positions on his agenda. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports for the first time a federal judge has suppressed evidence obtained without a warrant by U.S. law enforcement using a Stingray. U.S. District Judge William Pauley in Manhattan on Tuesday ruled that defendant Raymond Lambus's rights were violated when the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration used a device without a warrant to find his Bronx apartment. The DEA had used a Stingray to identify the apartment of Lambus as the most likely location of a cell phone identified during a drug trafficking probe. Pauley said doing so constituted an unreasonable search. Pauley wrote, absent a search warrant, the government may not turn a citizen's cell phone into a tracking device. The ruling marked the first time a federal judge had suppressed evidence obtained using a Stingray, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, which, like many privacy advocacy groups, had criticized law enforcement use of such devices. Stingrays, also known as cell site simulators, mimic cell phone towers in order to force cell phones in the area to transmit pings back to the devices, enabling law enforcement to track a suspect's phone and pinpoint its location. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A man thanks God he's not sexually attracted to children, and Popeye's home is burglarized. Week in and week out, you come back like a housebroken Pomeranian, loyal to the bitter end. Good boy. This is the Onion Week in Review. Georgia's Cobb County Evangelical Hospital held its 5th annual Walk to Cure Gayness today, reportedly drawing thousands of participants to raise funds that would cure sufferers of their homosexuality and make gayness a thing of the past. Hospital administrators told reporters that funding from the walk would go into providing new state-of-the-art gayness treatment equipment, along with remodeling the hospital's physical therapy center, which has spent nearly 14 years reteaching gay men how to walk properly.
Oh God, I was a goner. But as you can see, I'm now happily married to a woman, and as of next month, I will have been in full remission for 2 whole years. I'm just so very, very happy. Everything's really good in my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever's on your mind. We launch here into the 3rd hour of the program. We've got Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM, and you can call us toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Let's go into your phone calls and thoughts. It's Ian, Bud, and Daryl in the studio tonight. Sarah is in New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Sarah.
Hey, did I tell you about that? There was a crazy old man about 6 years ago in Santa Fe. He went out 1 o'clock in the morning in his pajamas. You know, he got up in the middle of sleeping and shot out all the speeding ban and red light cameras up in Santa Fe.
Hold up.
So,
he got up in the middle of sleeping, then shot out all of the red light cameras with a gun?
And the speeding vans is what you said, right?
Pajamas, yes, or whatever, the underwear or...
Wow.
whatever.
Give that guy an award. What a hero.
Just wake up one morning in the middle of the morning and decide I've just had enough. I'm sick of this.
Can you use sleepwalking as an excuse?
Well, you know what? He definitely had like brain shrinkage. What do you call that when you get old? And it's called dementia.
Dementia,
you know?
yeah, that's one of them. Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had his brain like.
Well, apparently he still had enough of his memory to remember what the speeding vans and red stoplight cameras were.
Looked like and where they were.
Yeah.
It sounds like to me this guy was really on top of his game, Sarah. I mean, I really appreciate kind of hard work like that. Did they end up finding out who he was?
Well, yeah, they did find him, and I was told that they did put him in the mental hospital for a while.
Aww.
He did wind up in a mental hospital. You know what I mean? And you know
That's
what?
sad.
Well, you know what? Do you know why he got so excited up in Santa Fe? Is because that was when we had the election here, and he found out that we pulled all of our red light cameras out in Albuquerque.
They're not your red light cameras. You didn't pull them out.
No, but Albuquerque, the voters, they pulled them all out. It was gone.
But that wasn't you, right? You voted to keep them, didn't you?
I did, but 3,000 more people.
Why would you say that you did something that you didn't do?
Yeah, I did not do it.
But you said we. You said we pulled them out.
Albuquerque did. Our city did. You know?
The city. So you consider yourself to be part of the city, and you did something even though you didn't support doing it.
Well, I mean, we just, you know, the thing is, we all get lumped together. You know what I'm talking about? I told him I did, you know what, I did not vote for Mayor Berry, Republican Mayor Berry.
Mm-hmm.
With him,
But now that he's there, he's part of you, is what you're saying. You are Mayor Berry, is what you're saying. You and Mayor Berry are one and the same. You are a part of the collective known as the City of Albuquerque.
The Borg.
Well, the thing about it is that he's my mayor, whether I like it or not. You know, now that's the reality.
I have become one with my mayor.
Well, Sarah, for the call tonight.
I have been assimilated.
Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. I say give that old man an award. He deserves a medal for shooting up all those red light cameras, if the story's true.
I wonder how long it took for the city to replace them all.
Well, I don't know. That's a good question because technically, I don't know if the city paid for them in the first place. They might have been paid for by the company that does the billing for the red light cameras. So how much the city ends up having to pay to install those things, I'm not sure because the company gets a big chunk of the revenue from every single ticket that they write with those cameras. Anyway, if you want to join us here, the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Here's the news about Facebook from TheIntercept.com. Great website, Glenn Greenwald. He's the one who put the site together. He's not the one who wrote the story. That's Naomi LaChance. And she writes that 4 men in Detroit were arrested over the last week for posts on social media that the police chief called threatening. One tweet that led to an arrest said that Micah Johnson, the man who shot police officers in Dallas last week, was a hero. None of the men have been named, nor have they been charged. Now, how is it that you can be arrested for something and not be charged with something? That I can't really understand.
They'll figure it out.
But normally they figure that out, like, if they're going to figure out after you arrest, they usually figure it out by the time they get you back to book you, so they can actually put a charge under your name for the arrest.
Yeah, because I thought that, they couldn't detain you for more than a certain amount of time
without
being charged. And I'm pretty sure that you have to be arraigned within, I think it's 48 to 72 hours or something like
Depending on the state.
Detroit Police Chief James Craig isn't concerned about all that stuff, bud. He says, quote, I know this is a new issue, but I want these people charged with crimes. I've directed my officers to prepare warrants for these 4 individuals, and we'll see which venue is best to pursue charges.
Wow.
All right, so hold on. Are they currently still being held? Or were they just taken down? We're releasing you on PR and we'll figure out a charge later.
I mean, he just said we're essentially keeping these people until we can figure out what we can put on them. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah, you can't.
Right, but was this statement given an hour later? Was it given 24 hours later? Was it given 72 hours? There's a huge difference between they got arrested, taken down, and then, oh, hey, why were these people taken down 5 minutes ago?
But to get arrested, don't you have to have probable cause that I've created some sort of mayhem or committed some sort of crime?
You would probable cause that you've done something, they just haven't figured out
actually
what it is
illegal,
yet.
right? So
disorderly conduct is illegal.
Him getting arrested offer him these, and he clearly states that he has no idea what they're going to charge him for yet. So don't you need to have probable cause to arrest somebody? And if you don't even know what they're charging him with, or they don't even know what they're charging him with, how are they going to stick him with probable cause?
But here's the thing. They suspect that something illegal happened. They just haven't figured out what the illegal thing was yet.
But they didn't suspect anything illegal happened. He said something, which is his right to do, as Ian just said, for this gentleman who's going out on midnight rampages, so like to be able to say, okay, well, Ian, you know what? I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way that you make your opinion known to people. And I'm going to incarcerate you for it because, frankly, I think that it's not helpful for me. And, so I see you as a threat, so I'm just going to get rid of you.
So I did dig a little further digging here. The Intercept links to a story from DetroitNews.com. The police chief said that 2 of the suspects were released and warrants will be submitted. The other 2 men remain jailed because of outstanding warrants. So apparently you can just arrest somebody and then figure it out later after you
think something illegal happened. We have to figure out what it is.
Right. Apparently that's a thing now.
It's pretty disturbing.
It's been a thing for a long time.
Right. This is just the latest iteration of people being arrested for posting to Facebook. Now, the quote from what one of the men reportedly posted, quote, "All lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. Kill all white cops," unquote.
Well,
now, that sounds pretty threatening, right?
That's pretty abrasive and aggressive. And
it definitely
is. It sounds like maybe if I was a white cop, I might not want to encounter that gentleman. But honestly, he hasn't done anything illegal.
Well, that's a good question. If somebody says, "Bud, I'm going to kill you tonight," that's a threat, and you do have a right to be in fear for your life from that threat. And there are laws about criminal threatening out there. But why wouldn't this guy be charged with criminal threatening if that's, if there are similar laws like that in Detroit?
Plus I'm pretty sure that, I can't say I'm sure because I don't know. But, if there's not, there should be something to say that you can, state your opinion about a public official without fear of, some sort of retaliation.
I tend to agree with you. And generally, he is saying kill all white cops, which is still a semi-general threat. It could be interpreted as though he's serious about it or that it's just a political opinion. Right. It's going to be a tough case to litigate.
Right.
But then again, they haven't even brought a charge against him. So that's the most bizarre part about this, is that they're still trying to figure out after the fact.
And that's the thing, too. I feel like if they read that and he was, they could actually charge him with something that they would have, instead of releasing him in a pending warrant.
And we've seen people arrested for posting lyrics of songs which sing about killing cops.
Right. Yes.
Not necessarily that they were advocating that. They were just posting the lyrics because they felt like it was expressive of how they were feeling, or they just wanted to share those lyrics.
They didn't actually say anything.
Right. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. More analysis, though, coming up, and some of the other cases, because it's not just these people in Detroit who are being targeted. It's elsewhere as well. This is Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Think about this. Your community's aging water infrastructure systems are very likely to be contaminated with heavy metals like lead, disinfection chemicals like ammonia, chlorine and chloramines, and pharmaceuticals like statins, pain meds, and antidepressants. And no, water treatment plants are not equipped to filter these pharmaceutical toxins out. Protect your family's water supply with the trusted Big Berkey water filter. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show Big Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria, and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market, the gold standard in water purification, and our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgoristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agorist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers, and some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agorist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any tomfoolery. So go with AgoristHosting.com. And if you want to get your foot in the door with decentralized marketplaces, Agorist Hosting is now offering Open Bazaar hosting. Go to AgoristHosting.com, click on the button that says Get Hosted. Agorist Hosting, that's AGORIST, hosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
Are you sick of government lackeys who say you didn't build that? Are you tired of elitists who think you need a government permission slip for everything? Everything you do is an A to B conversation, and the government should see their way out of it. Create true free markets by adopting the BIPCOT No Government License. The BIPCOT No Gov license allows use or modification of any product, service, or software except by governments or government agents. Go to BIPCOT.org. That's Bravo, India, Papa, Charlie, Oscar, Tango.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. Disturbing news about police around the country arresting people for posting on Facebook. Now, should people be able to post something like, quote, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter, kill all white cops, unquote? That's what one man was arrested for in Detroit. We'll continue the story on theintercept.com. And want to let you know about the audio on demand listen line that we just launched just a few days ago. You can try it out for yourself. We'll give you the number here in a moment. It allows you to listen to Free Talk Live and about a dozen shows from LRN.FM on demand. So that's one of the cool features. Plus, there's still the live stream from LRN.FM, meaning you can still listen to Free Talk Live live via the audio on demand line. Here's the number. It's 641-793-9660. I'll give you that again in a moment. Just plug it into your phone, save it, and then whenever you want to listen to LRN.FM, Free Talk Live, Declare Your Independence, The Rebel Love Show, Flaming Freedom, Off the Air Live, and more, you can just dial up that number, and it costs you only the cost of the call itself. So if you've got unlimited long distance, it costs you nothing. 641-793-9660. You don't have to use any of your data plan for this. 641-793-9660. As we continue here, the story from theintercept.com about Detroit Police Chief James Craig saying that he's arrested 4 men in the last week in Detroit for posts on social media and is not really sure what he's going to charge them with. He says, quote, I've directed my officers to prepare warrants for these 4 individuals, and we'll see which venue is best to pursue charges, he added. Meaning he doesn't really know exactly what they're going to charge them with, but they're going to figure something out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get it. So listen, okay, so I put some thought into this, right? Now, what you just read says all lives can't matter until Black lives matter, right?
That's what the poster on Facebook says.
Right. Now, the whole Black Lives Matters thing, right? That's clearly a political movement, I mean, whether or not it's aggressive or violent or whatnot, but clearly it's meant to be a political movement. And I mean, he kind of is quoting it, saying like all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. In my opinion, that's a political opinion.
Well, that is, the problem comes in with the kill all white cops statement. That's
right.
the
but,
more indefensible portion.
Does he really have the ability to kill all the white cops?
Certainly not.
So, I mean, it does seem kind of like an over-exaggeration.
Is he doing the equivalent of inciting a riot or inciting others to do
Is it
destructive
not my
acts?
own decision whether or not I want to riot or whether or not
Indeed.
I want to harm a cop or do whatever?
I tend to err on the side of freedom of speech, even in the case of disturbing and possibly violent speech like this. Someone posting "kill all white cops" to Facebook is different than someone standing in front of a cop and saying, "I'm going to kill you," and then reaching for their belt.
Right.
So I think that the circumstances should come into play here.
Right, absolutely.
Let me go on with the story. From TheIntercept.com, 5 police officers were killed in the Dallas shootings late last week, constituting the highest number of police casualties in an attack since September 11th. And as a result, law enforcement officials everywhere are suddenly much more sensitive to threats against their lives. But one result has been that several police departments across the country have arrested individuals for posts on social media accounts, often from citizen tips, meaning your friends on Facebook are snitching on you, or if you're public, some other people you don't know and don't like you are snitching on you. But again, citizen tips raising concerns among free speech advocates. The Bruce Schneier, who's a security at the Berkman Klein Center for Internet and Society at Harvard, said this to The Intercept, quote, "Arresting people for speech is something we should be very careful about," unquote. Last week in Connecticut, police arrested Kurt Van Zook after a tip for posts on Facebook that identified Johnson as a hero and called for police to be killed. He's referring to Micah Johnson, the alleged shooter in Dallas. He was charged with inciting injury to persons or property. An Illinois woman, Genesis Reynolds, was arrested for writing a Facebook post that she would shoot an officer who would pull her over. Quote, "I have no problem shooting a cop for a simple traffic stop because they'd have no problem doing it to me," unquote. She wrote, according to police investigation, she's been charged with disorderly conduct, which brings us back to a conversation we were having earlier. This disorderly conduct charge is definitely something that they use as their catch-all. They didn't have
It's like a
anything
conspiracy
else.
charge.
Right. They had nothing else they could have charged this woman with. And this statement from her is even less offensive than the guy who said kill all white cops. She's very specific. She's just talking tough. "Oh, yeah, I'm going to shoot the cops that pull me over." Well, there's a lot of people who talk tough, but then when the time actually comes, they realize.
Yeah, but, she might instigate a riot, by saying that you can't have these people writing this stuff and trying to control what they're writing and what they're saying. Really what you're saying is, well, these people can't control themselves, so we have to control things for them. These people don't know how to write on Facebook without being aggressive or whatnot. And so we have to control this. We have to sit down and say, you can't do this. You can't say this because you might. Right. You can think it, but you can't say it because you might, in some slight chance, instigate a riot where other people who are free to make their own decisions might be involved.
Right. So if someone else does something bad, then you should get in trouble because you said something.
Well, and I mean, see, I think part of the reason why they think that is because government officials are so used to, especially FBI officials, because we've read numerous stories about this, to where government officials will find somebody that is kind of susceptible and then provoke them to go do something, and then they go arrest them and say, "Aren't you glad we arrested this guy that was about to do this horrible thing?"
Yep.
After we provoked him to do it and we gave him all the tools that he needed. But pay no attention to that.
Right.
Aren't you glad we stopped this guy?
Here's another one. In New Jersey, Rolando Medina was arrested and charged with cyber harassment. He allegedly posted on an unidentified social media platform that he would destroy local police headquarters. In Louisiana, Camonte Gilmore was arrested for an online video in which he allegedly threatened a police officer. He was charged with public intimidation. Professor Larry Dubin of the University of Detroit Mercy School of Law told Detroit News, quote, "Certainly posting that kind of thing on social media is a bad thought, but having a bad isn't necessarily a crime." I mean, yes, the police are absolutely punishing people for saying what they're thinking. It should be legal to express yourself in this country, even if the contents of the expression make some people, especially law enforcement, concerned. Maybe makes them afraid. Maybe makes them, not so sure about what's going to come next. Because look, the people that are saying things on Facebook are probably the ones you don't have to worry about.
Right.
It's the ones who don't say anything at all.
Right, because they're not going to
publicly.
let you know. They're going to try keeping it as quiet as possible so that they don't get caught.
Right. The ones who are smart enough, who are preparing some sort of an attack, they're not going to be blabbing about it on Facebook. They're going to be too busy building a bomb.
I wonder if we could do like some sort of civil disobedience and just like get everyone we know to post something on Facebook about something that awful that could happen to a cop, maybe.
I would say be very, very careful if you're going to be doing that. Certainly, posting this kind of thing is a bad thought. He said further. Let's see. Oh, yeah. By the way, the posting of online threats is hardly a new issue. The Supreme Court set a precedent last year when it ruled that prosecutors pursuing a charge of communicating threats need to prove both that reasonable people would view the statement as a threat and that the intent was to threaten. So now here we come with this big sort of nebulous idea of reasonable people. What would a reasonable person think about some of these statements? What do you think? You can share your thoughts here with us.
I think it's all crap.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And join us on Free Talk Live.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today. Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty and peace around the globe worth 15 cents per day to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as sub-Saharan Africa. Last year, we did a fundraiser that successfully covered the costs of continuing our African channel. This year, we're hoping to raise enough to fund a new satellite signal that will cover Europe, North Africa, and much of the Middle East. You can donate as much or as little as you like via the Indiegogo campaign at fund.lrn.fm. And there are perks available like sitting in on your favorite LRN.FM show, exclusive shiny badges, or even naming a satellite channel. Please contribute now at fund.lrn.fm and help us continue our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. The fundraiser ends August 19th, so please visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to HealthForLiberty.com right now. That's HealthForLiberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. We're talking about freedom of speech. Freedom of some of the most disturbing speech, which is speech that kind of borders on threatening. And as the Supreme Court has pointed out, apparently in a recent ruling last year, prosecutors pursuing charges of communicating threats need to prove both that reasonable people would view the statement as a threat and that the intent was to threaten. Alonis versus United States dealt with a man who'd posted violent rap lyrics about his estranged wife. The court reversed his conviction. Toll-free number if you want to join us here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Bud.
And Daryl.
And don't forget, we've got a website over at freetalklive.com. And if you support what we're doing here and you want to help Free Talk Live spread to more radio stations, bring new satellite and internet listeners on board, you can get behind the show by becoming an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. It's $5 a month. We'll take that $5 in, invest it into the show, and get on more stations. Bring more people on board listening to the ideas of liberty, and that's a good thing. Great way to spend, the price of a fancy cup of coffee every single month. Plus, you get perks like access to the AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcasts, the AMP-only Facebook group. Go get all the details, and please sign up over at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com. Back to the story here from theintercept.com. There have been multiple arrests in just the last week of police arresting people around the country. So New Jersey, Illinois, Detroit, Connecticut. These are some of the places where these arrests have occurred, according to theintercept.com. Daniel Medwed, professor of law at Northeastern University, said this, quote, "After Dallas, threats may seem more threatening to police officers around the country. We might be seeing more arrests right now because the police will interpret that they have probable cause to make an arrest, but that doesn't mean that in the end that this will result in convictions." Shire, one of the security experts, urged that law enforcement use caution. He said, quote, "This is complicated. We don't know how to do this. We're doing it pretty badly, and we should do it better," unquote. But he said it was a sign of the times. These days, almost all communications are recorded in some capacity. This new world where things aren't forgotten is going to be different, and you're seeing one manifestation of it in casual comments that are resulting in arrest. Now, when they arrest you for this, and then later on decide they don't really have a case and they drop the charge, or if you end up defeating them in court and they lose and, they null pros the charge or whatever, then you usually don't have any kind of way to sue them. There's really it's rare for someone who has their rights abused by the police, by the system, to be able to get some sort of compensation for the inconvenience of the fact of, well, you're sitting at home, you just posted on Facebook, somebody snitches on your Facebook post, within hours the police show up, they put handcuffs on you, you get booked, you get bailed out, you get released. Well, that's hours and hours of your time that have been wasted. You don't get that time back, let alone all the time that you would have to spend in court if they didn't drop the charge right away. So, you don't
get any sort of compensation at all. And you don't even get an apology if you get acquitted or
almost
like
never will you get an apology from the police. And so that's one of the disturbing parts here, is that the police can basically go around and throw their weight around and arrest people and have no consequence for it.
Well, they feel justified to do so. They've got all these people in society who are like, yeah, we'll give you an MRAP or we'll give you a Bearcat and we'll paramilitarize you, and then we'll just see what happens.
Well, they've got to make split-second decisions.
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, just because that's the only job on earth where you got to do that.
Well, these guys, I can understand the fear. I understand where they're coming from. The police have a dangerous job. It's not the most dangerous job in the United States, but part of becoming a police officer is understanding that there are going to be people out there who don't like you and who might actually hurt you.
Listen,
are they likely to be people who are on Facebook? I don't know.
If you don't want people to, if you're a cop and you don't want people to shoot you, then, you should probably reconsider your job, because, I mean, it is part of the job. There is that aspect that somebody could shoot you. Somebody could threaten you. Somebody could do this, somebody could do that. And the thing is, really, you're a cop. You don't have to feel justified to do what you do, because everybody's justifying it for you. So let me just act however I want and it'll be okay. Well, the thing is, if you want people to stop hurting you, then stop hurting people and stop putting them in cages.
They're playing into the reason why people hate them in the first place. Look, you start arresting people for posting rap lyrics, for posting their thoughts, for posting their angry thoughts on Facebook.
Perfect example.
And you are playing right into the role that people have cast you in, which is oppressor. If you are oppressing people and arresting people for freedom of speech, even uncomfortable speech like this is an oppressive role, and that's just going to galvanize more people against you. If people get the word that their buddy down the street got arrested for posting on Facebook, that's not going to help the police recover their image. Not that it seems like they're really too concerned with recovering their image.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They don't have to feel justified, because they have, an entire government behind them and a society that says it's okay. That gives them the ability to do this. They don't have to feel bad, because they honestly think that what they're doing is right.
Right, and then you get a jury who will, even if the law says you can say what you want about the police, they'll convict you anyway.
Because they're citizens and they think that that's the way it should be. We shouldn't talk bad about the government.
They're
we shouldn't talk bad. They're heroes.
Let's talk to Simmons. He's on the line in D.C. Simmons, you're on Free Talk Live.
It's Agent Simmons, and
is this Ricky?
It's Agent Simmons.
No, I'm pretty sure this is Ricky. But go ahead, Agent Simmons.
Calling from Sector 7.
Sector 7.
By the way, is a secret American government agency. We are the government, as a matter of fact, and we will not have our name wrongly used on the air. Every single one of you, especially you, Ian.
Thanks for the call,
It's pretty funny, Ricky.
By the way, you only get one call per night, and it's not fair to call back and make up a fake name, and that I don't know if Ricky's his real name anyway, but to make up a second name and then call back. Sorry, that's just the rules here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. And we don't have a lot of rules on Free Talk Live. There really aren't a lot of rules. You really can call about pretty much anything that you want.
Well, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because they supersede something, and therefore the rule doesn't apply there.
It was funny, though. I mean, I will give Ricky credit for a somewhat self-deprecating call. I mean, he was basically making fun of himself there. So yes. I do have an appreciation for that. So thank you, Ricky, or whatever your name was. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. Bring up whatever's on your mind. So should we talk about millennials? Martha Stewart.
Do we have to?
Martha Stewart is on the attack against millennials. It's been a while since Martha Stewart's been making headlines, but apparently she's not happy with what she calls lazy, self-indulgent, and people who lack initiative.
Geez, well, in that case, why don't we just generalize all the baby boomers and all the people in Generation X, too, and see what we can think about them, too?
Well, you're right about that, but this is very general. It's a general statement. It's not fair to treat people that they are a certain way based on the way some people who are the same age range act. That's really unfair. Obviously, not everyone who's a millennial is lazy, self-indulgent, and lacks initiative. But, where's she coming from?
Well, I mean, hey, if she wants to do that, if not, we can always just talk about, felonies and being in stuff and, I'm sure she'll fit right into that conversation as well. So
she went
wants
to prison
to,
for lying to a federal agent, if I'm recalling correctly.
Did she?
Yes.
Yep, that's right. She went to a minimum security federal prison for, what was it, a couple of years?
Something like that.
Anyway, she's weighing in on the millennials. Story from thesun.co.uk. The millionaire lifestyle guru, Martha Stewart, has issued a stinging criticism of the millennial generation and claimed youngsters are too lazy to get ahead. Too many members of Generation Snowflake. That's a new one. I haven't heard that one. But how old are you, bud?
I'm 27. I was born in 89.
So you qualify as a millennial for the purposes of this conversation. I am kind of on the border between Generation X and millennial. You would probably be Generation X for
I'm
sure.
Gen X.
Daryl, the toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. We'll see. What is she basing her comments on? And do they hold any weight? If you want to weigh in on millennials, you're welcome to share your thoughts. Maybe you are one of them. 855-450-FREE. You can join us in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live.
If you're considering going back to school, ask yourself the following questions. Do you need the flexibility to take classes on your schedule? Do you have college credits you need transferred? Do you want to earn a quality degree from a world-renowned university? If you answered yes to any of these questions, Arizona State University is the perfect school for you. Arizona State University offers over 100 highly ranked degree programs 100% online. You'll earn the same degree as you would on campus, from wherever you are, on your schedule. Plus, ASU Online accepts most transfer credits. For information, call 1-800-958-5345. Learn for yourself why the Wall Street Journal ranks ASU 5th in the nation for producing the best qualified graduates, and why 90% of ASU grads are recruited within 90 days of graduation. Learn to grow, learn to succeed, and learn to thrive at Arizona State University. To learn more about ASU online degrees, call 1-800-958-5345. That's 1-800-958-5345.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. Injury Help Desk is responsible for this advertisement. Principal office, Las Vegas, Nevada. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisements. Services may not be available in all states. Attention prescription antibiotic drug users. Have you or a loved one suffered an aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm after taking the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox? These popular antibiotic drugs have been prescribed more than 80 million times since 2004, and medical studies show an increased risk of the following injuries: aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, and abdominal aortic aneurysm. If you or a loved one used the prescription antibiotic drugs Levaquin or Avelox and suffered from aortic dissection, aortic aneurysm, or abdominal aortic aneurysm, you may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Act now. Time is limited to file a claim. You may be entitled to substantial financial compensation. For a free consultation and free information, call Injury Help Desk at 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851.
In a dramatic scene last night, a coalition of the nation's damaged women staged a drunken, tear-soaked march on the Capitol just after 2 a.m. Jane Carmichael has more.
Thank you, Brooke. The damaged women began their protest yesterday afternoon, marching on the National Mall at about 4 p.m., and then marching away furious, saying they were done with Congress once and for all. But then they came back again late last night, insisting that someone in Washington listen to them for once. The late-night protests started with tearful apologies, but quickly moved to anger as marchers demanded that Congress pass a bill making it illegal to say you love someone and then up and leave as soon as there's one little problem.
Why are you ignoring us? Stop ignoring us! Why don't you hear me when I talk to you? Wipe the smirk off of your face. No, come back! Come back, because we think that we want you to care about us.
I don't need to pay a therapist to tell me I'm unhappy! I know I'm unhappy!
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 641-552-5046. That's 641-552-5046.
It's Free Talk Live. We've got enough time for you if you join us now. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Download Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree at victimlesscrimespree.com. You can actually download the thing. There's actually a downloadable version via torrent, or you can just watch it for free on YouTube any old time you want to. It's a great feature-length documentary film that I had the great pleasure of being the co-producer for. And we wanted to put it on the internet for everybody to watch for free. It's got over 100,000 views. And thanks to everybody who has watched it. If you haven't checked it out yet, head on over to victimlesscrimespree.com. Watch, enjoy, and be sure you share it. And if you get a chance, write a review. You can write a review over at Amazon or the Internet Movie Database. Those are 2 really good places to leave a review, leave your thoughts.
I would actually suggest doing it at Amazon because it has more of an effect. Because reviews on products on Amazon actually help boost them to where they're shown by more or viewed by more people.
Well, if you're going to hammer out a review and you've got an IMDb account, you might as well put it there too. I mean, if you're going to take the time to type a review, take the time to put it in both places.
No, go ahead, put it on Rotten Tomatoes too.
Yeah, that's another good site. I really like that movie. I don't know if Derek J's is listed on Rotten Tomatoes, but that's something that's worth looking into. Toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE. Changing gears away from scary police state stuff to just kind of the issue.
And Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree definitely has some scary police state stuff.
Oh, yeah, it does. He gets arrested 5 times in a 1-year time frame. We caught it all on video, and the police behave very badly. Thankfully, he didn't get it permanently hurt by the incidents that he had.
He's lucky.
One of which includes a cop tackling him off of his bicycle.
Yeah, right over here.
And then punching him a couple of times. So it gets a little violent.
Victimless Crime Spree is on Rotten Tomatoes. 71% of the people have liked the movie. It's got a 3.7 out of 5.
Well, maybe we should do a Rotten Tomato campaign, because what I've done before is I've asked people specifically to go to Amazon, or I've asked them to go specifically to IMDb. I didn't even know it was on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's very, very exciting. We'll see if we can send some more folks over there to leave a review. So yeah, RottenTomatoes.com. Look up Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, but make sure you go and watch it first at VictimlessCrimeSpree.com. So Martha Stewart, the latest person, according to The Sun over at thesun.co.uk, to rail against a mollycoddled generation who've turned universities into safe spaces to avoid testing their ideas in the crucible of debate, and called on conference attendees to make jazz hands because clapping is too traumatic for their sensitive souls.
What?
She said in an interview with Luxury Listings, quote, "I think every business is trying to target millennials, but who are millennials? Now we're finding out that they're living with their parents," she said. "They don't have the initiative to go out and find a little apartment and grow a tomato plant on the terrace."
Yeah, because your generation screwed our country to hell.
Well, forget about that. You're just, something
Right.
delicate.
Hey, man, stop yelling, all
jazz
right?
hands.
Really, I have a sensitive soul. Please stop.
And the funny
need a
thing
safe
is,
space.
the funny thing is, like, the right wingers or alt right or whatever the hell they call themselves, they also have delicate sensibilities. They're just delicate about different things.
Is Martha Stewart a right winger?
She's acting like one, but no. Like, if you say anything about police, then the right wingers. Ah!
Oh yeah, they
You
freak out.
can't say that.
Yeah.
They die for your freedoms.
Mm-hmm. She says, "I understand the plight of young people. The economic circumstances out there are very grim, but you have to work for it. You have to strive for it. You have to go after it.
Well, it's easy for her when she already had everything when the economy became crap. But, not just that, she's apparently, from what I've heard, it sounds like she's targeting even more specific group of people besides millennials. So,
what do you think? What do you think she's targeting?
Well, I'm not sure, but I know it's not any of the millennials that I hang out with or know or associate with. I don't know anybody like that, actually.
You're saying you don't know any people who need a safe space?
Yeah,
or...
I've never even heard of it till you just said something.
Martha's career began when she landed a job as a model. She then went on to become a stockbroker before launching a cookbook, which turned her into a lifestyle expert and TV personality. She's now worth about £166 million. I got married at 19, she says, and I immediately got an apartment and I fixed it up, Martha added. She says, I was very proud of everything I did. I got the furniture at auctions for pennies. Beautiful furniture. My apartments were lovely and homey and comfortable.
Yeah, good luck with that now.
She has been in discussions with restaurateur, owner, and television star David Chang, who told her to pass on her knowledge to the youth of today. He kept saying to me, Martha, you know so much, and the millennials have to know this stuff, she added. They don't know anything, and they have to learn. They want to learn, but they have grown up without teachers. She says they know how to make money and how to develop software, but they don't know how to plant a tree. They don't know how to grow spinach.
Bro, we should just control everyone.
Hold on. What does having a safe space have to do with not knowing how spinach grows?
Not to mention, I'm sure there's plenty of millennials who know how to put a seed in the ground and water it and give it sun. It's not that difficult.
Well, maybe she's experiencing a different group of millennials than some of us are. I mean, but you do come from New Hampshire, the Granite State. People tend to be more independent in the Granite State. It's likely Martha Stewart is talking to people who are in big cities, for instance, or on her vineyard or wherever it is.
Regardless, she shouldn't generalize the whole section of people on the small little, attachment that she's experiencing.
I tend to agree with you. It's not fair to say, oh, you Gen Xers are like this, or you millennials are like that. Yeah. It's as dumb as, it's probably even more dumb than like astrology, where, the idea of that you were born in a certain month has some effect on your personality.
It's so dumb I should tell the media my opinion.
Well, now, okay, but let's not discount her experience. Maybe her experience is that the young people that she knows are shockingly irresponsible or, shockingly sensitive. And it's possible that people in a big city of the millennial generation are more likely to be these things because they've been taken care of their whole lives to some extent.
I think that anybody from any generation can be like that. Has the potential to be like that. So to say that, well, these Xers are like that, but these millennials are like that, we got to tell them, we got to change them. Is it because we're the newest generation, we're the youngest and the most, I guess malleable, but
and is there something though to the claim that more millennials are staying home with their parents? I mean, there are numbers out there that suggest that might be the case.
And I do believe that. And, because being a millennial, I do have friends that live with their parents. But the situation is, they look for work and work does not come. They look for work and nobody calls them, So it's just a matter of, I guess you could say, economic conditions. But
absolutely it is, which you can blame on the baby boomers.
Right,
because they're the ones that have made the policies that they are. They're the ones that have done these things to drive up the cost of a college education that everybody's told you need to get a college degree, and here we'll give you a guaranteed loan. And so people wind up graduating college or dropping out, whatever the case may be, with this huge debt burden that I know I didn't start off with. I don't think, Ian, you started off with, and technically you're one of these millennials.
Barely, but still,
I
could be argued that I'm Gen X, but it depends.
But this whole thing, we didn't start with this. Our parents definitely didn't start with these problems.
Right. So I think she's mad at the wrong group of people.
The millennials are the victims. Is
right. Well, no, I don't think they're the victims. I think that
they're
a degree,
the victims of the circumstances that have been put in place by people like Martha Stewart, who should really be mad at the people that threw her in jail for doing some stock trading.
Well, and so if the baby boomers, and again, we're being very general. Obviously, there's some baby boomers who didn't support the policies, right? So it's not fair to group people by their age. But unfortunately, people do that. And so people of the baby boomer generation are the ones who set the policies that, like the Federal Reserve or whatever government rules had allowed the bubbles to occur, which then popped, and then, bad times for the economy after that. You can't blame somebody for taking whatever economic measures are necessary to maximize their wealth. And if you can stay home with your parents and not have to pay rent and sock away money into a savings account, then there's a reason to do that.
Right.
I wouldn't look down my nose at somebody who's doing that, but I can understand that it would be relatively uncomfortable to be in that circumstance, and hopefully someone who's in that circumstance does want to get out of that situation. And it does tend to be that the older someone gets, generally in the United States, there is sort of the idea that you should break away from your parents at some point. I mean, are you still in your mid-30s?
You got to leave the nest at some point.
Right. I mean, if you're still in your parents' house and you're in your mid-30s or 40s, then maybe it's getting a little bit of an overstaying your welcome thing. Maybe you're a little...
Well, I mean, stuff happens too.
You could be more independent, I think, at that point in your life. But we're out of time. Maybe you can talk to us tomorrow about that. Meanwhile, join us online at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Are you a political activist who does things that the government might not like? Then this free ebook may save your life. Rats is your guide to protecting yourself against snitches, informers, informants, agents provocateur, narcs, finks, and similar vermin. Rats was written by OG libertarian Claire Wolfe. Rats is a short book, easy to read, and available free in many formats. Download Rats free at rats-nosnitch.com. That's rats-nosnitch.com.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Cop Block Radio is up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, July 13th, 2016. Silver is trading at $20.40 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,341 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $668. Antiwar.com reports related to a complaint filed with the Israeli Justice Ministry. Reports out of the Israeli Border Police deployed in occupied East Jerusalem reveal that police in that department repeatedly and deliberately took actions designed to provoke a violent response from Palestinians to justify a further crackdown on them. The attorney who filed the initial report noted he finally got 10 reports out of the area and that they all noted police initiated friction activity, with police in the reports openly describing actions they took specifically to create friction with residents of the Arab village in the area. Israeli civil rights groups blasted the revelation, with one lawyer for The actions totally contradict the role of the police and showed a serious disregard for human life in the occupied territories. The complaint was initially filed based on a January 6th incident in which border police entered a village and shot a 12-year-old boy in the head with a sponge bullet, putting him in a coma. Police defended this action and others insisting their actions preserve the security and welfare of the public. If you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, what's wrong with you? Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. UPI reports Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders officially endorsed Hillary Clinton, his Democratic rival for the presidential nomination, ending what began as a long-shot campaign that exploded into a liberal political revolution. The announcement came Tuesday in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, a state Sanders won handily in the primary, and which will be a battleground in Clinton's general election efforts against Republican Donald Trump. Sanders had an effect